ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on a nope, not Monday. It's a Tuesday. It is our Monday, though, technically.
Fast-moving week.
Fast-moving week. It was a fast-moving weekend.
Dude,
3 days are not supposed to go by that quickly. I golfed. Not well, but I golfed. I tried out Windy Knoll. I actually really like that golf course. They just did not like me. Caught a high school football game on Friday night. Another good one. We've been fortunate back-to-back weeks of one-possession games that come up to the last overtime game. Centerville came out over Springfield. So that was a good game.
Nice.
Bring the energy, Kev. Come on, you're telling me.
I'm trying to think what I did. I'm trying to think what I did this weekend. I cut the grass.
Jeez, that's why the energy fell. Bring it back.
No. This is the good part. I found a bee's nest forming on the side of my house.
No, thank you.
So I did like what everybody else would do. They let it be. Until I told the wife. She said, yo, we got to get that up out of here. It's on the side of the house where our bedroom is. What if they get in and sting us in our sleep? So we go to Walgreens, spend about $30 on bug spray and bee spray and wasp spray. And she gets up there and she chickens out. She was going to spray it. I was going to watch her record it.
So why are you watching her?
Because she said she was going to do it.
Husband of the year. Right here,
look, man.
Did she have to get on a ladder?
No, it's like you just lift your arm. You could have been there.
All right, that's a little better.
So
you didn't make your girl get up on a ladder. Your wife on a ladder to kill bees.
She said she was going to do it, so I was going to let her until she chickened out and made me do it. Thank goodness I didn't get stung. Bees are gone. Thanks to me.
That you know of.
See. Grass cut and bees gone.
Bottom line,
where's my medal?
It's an eventful weekend for you as far as that's concerned. But I hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone had a great first day back at work after. I mean, that's always the toughest, coming back to work after an extended weekend like that. But so much going on. First of all, let's kill this music and let's hit the NFL music. It is week 1 of the National Football League. How about that? We are 2 days away from the very first NFL game of the season. You have of course, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they won it all last year.
Yes, sir.
When they win that World Series or that finals. What's it called? Yeah, the Super Bowl. Yes, we're going to get to see Patrick Mahomes and company again. The guy's just been, he's only won an MVP in his first season as a starter. He wins Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. You know what? I think that they're in good shape to potentially win it all next year, unless my Browns have anything to say about it. Just joking, of course. We got plenty of Browns talk we're going to get into a moment, but we're going to see the Texans and the Chiefs coming up Thursday night, which coincidentally enough, the 2 highest paid quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes took care of that early on in the offseason. How about over the weekend? Deshaun Watson, he got invited to the big boys table. He was paid pretty handsomely, $40 million a year.
Yes, sir.
Dak Prescott's like, what the hell?
And he got the deal that Dak was looking for, that 4-year deal, because the money was exactly the same that Dak was asking for, but the Cowboys were doing that 5th year, which, brings the money down yearly and everything like that. So Deshaun got the deal that Dak wanted, and now Dak has to ball out if he wants to get that money.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Dak's numbers weren't terrible last year. In fact, it was the best statistical season of his entire time in Dallas, of course. But the thing is, though, the longer you are at a place, like if you keep putting up good numbers every year, the bottom line is if you're going to throw for, as many yards as Dak Prescott did, throw for as many touchdowns, but you don't make the playoffs, that's where he kind of got impacted by that as well. Deshaun Watson has been to the playoffs multiple times, and Deshaun Watson has had talent taken away from him. Deshaun Watson has won with less talent. I think what's hurting Dak Prescott, Kev, is the fact that Jerry Jones continues to load up that team with talent, and they keep underachieving. Mm-hmm. It may not be because of him, but it's kind of like a coach. You know what I mean? Like you're responsible. Whether it's your fault or not, you're responsible for the team outcomes, and people don't seem to get that at times. That's why this is a big season for Dak Prescott coming up. But we'll get into some quarterback talk coming up in a moment because Kev tried calling me out over the weekend for something I was wrong about, apparently. Not going there yet. We're going to get there.
You saw that?
Oh, I saw it, and I completely ignored it. I mean, I ghosted you. I didn't even try to respond to that over the weekend for that blasphemous take on Twitter that we'll get to coming up in just a moment. Technically, I was wrong, but we'll get into that in a moment. I'm actually going to admit I'm wrong on a few things today.
Oh!
The Browns did something today that I'm going to look at Kevin and say, Kevin, you are right. Because as much, and by the way, I'm going to start it off with this. And again, we are live.
We are taping.
We are live on 1410 ESPN Radio, streaming live at wingam.com. And of course, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Search ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. And then, of course, go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and you'll be able to tune in and watch the show every day. Of course, you'll be able to comment in the chat section. We're able to pull your comments into the show. Travco says he loves your T-shirt, by the way, Kev.
Easy E.
The Easy E shirt. He says he loves it.
Thank you.
There you go. So just like that, for those of you watching, you comment in, we'll be able to pull you in. All right, so here's the deal. So the Cleveland Browns. In fact, I do want you to kill this music real quick. Just go ahead and kill the music. The Cleveland Browns made some headlines today. No, not the OBJ headlines. We'll get to that in a moment. I mean, we're not going to get into that crap right now, okay? What'd I say? What?
Oh man.
You just, if that's what you were wanting to hear, you just go squat over there for a little bit and we'll get to that news. What?
Go dig a hole.
Yeah, go dig. Man. Holy moly. I've been sitting here all day waiting to get to all these jokes as far as that's concerned. And he plays for the Browns too. That's why he loves the colors of the team, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, OBJ loves that. We'll get into that in a moment. So the Cleveland Browns, they extend Kareem Hunt today. They make news for that. That kind of caught me off guard a little bit because I've been praising Kareem Hunt for a long. I still think he's one of the top running backs in the National Football League. I don't believe his numbers are always going to show it because he is going to be a split back, of course, with Nick Chubb moving forward. Nick Chubb is the primary back, I think. The Cleveland Browns did something today that I believe is kind of a signal. For one, it's a signal to Baker Mayfield, and it's also a signal to Nick Chubb, in my opinion. Kevin, you know how I am. I'm not a big fan of investing a ton of money into your running back. No matter how good they are, I think that even if you have to lose that all-time talent in the league, I think you could not say easily replace it, but that's the one position that you can replace the production of easier than any other position in football. You can't do that with the offensive line. Defensive line's tough. Secondary, linebackers, quarterback, obviously, wide receivers, it's tough to find. You can find talented receivers, but sometimes not always the right fit. Running back, that's the easiest position that you can draft, that you can go to free agency and find. There's running backs everywhere. So it's the one position where I get very critical of when teams invest a lot of money into it. I'm not a big fan of what the Bengals did with Joe Mixon. I understand the need for it, but at the same time, you are paying $12.5 million a year to a guy that the Cleveland Browns are going to get for half of that from two of their backs over the next 2 seasons. That is pretty good. That's very efficient to the Cleveland Browns front office. We don't get to compliment them often. I'm going to compliment them today. The Cleveland Browns, again, give a 2-year extension to Kareem Hunt. That'll keep him with the Cleveland Browns through the 2022 season. The Browns are set up to win, in my opinion, with or without Baker Mayfield moving forward, which is what I'll get into coming up here in a moment. But Kareem Hunt will make $16.5 million, Kev, over the next 3 years. Joe Mixon's going to make $12.5 million per year during that stretch. Kareem Hunt will make $5.5 million a year for 2020, 2021, and 2022. Nick Chubb will make about a little over $1 million during that same stretch. So again, from your running back position, the Cleveland Browns, I think, are getting way more bang for their buck at about $7 million a year. They are getting Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt for the next 3 years during the same amount of time and for half the amount of money as what the Cincinnati Bengals paid for in Nick Chubb. Again, I bring them into it because I'm going to get into the Bengals coming up here in just a moment. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just trying to make an example of, for the Bengals who think that they got a good deal with Joe Mixon, this is actually a really, really good deal for the Cleveland Browns as far as the running game is concerned. Now, here's what I'm about to admit. I'm semi-wrong. I remember last week we were debating who the top running backs were in the league. Nick Chubb, by the way, top 5. I will debate that forever. But again, the more you read into what teams and organizations are looking for, they don't want just guys that are going to be a guy that you just pounded into the line of scrimmage over and over and over. Can you make plays for me in the open field? What can you do? What do you bring to our passing game? And not just from a blocking perspective, from a playmaking perspective. Kareem Hunt, the reason he got paid today, finding this out, I thought was interesting. Now look back to last season. He only played the final 8 games of the season. Do you know he had 80 combined touches in the final 8 games of the season between the air in the air and on the ground?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of touches, considering Nick Chubb, how many carries he had last year, and of course, right up there with Derrick Henry of the Titans as far as total yards, touchdowns, and the impact that he had as far as all that's concerned. Here's why Kareem Hunt got paid today. He spent the majority, if not all, of this offseason, not just with the running backs coach, but with the wide receivers coach. He is, in my opinion, we keep looking at Nick Chubb as the feature back of this Cleveland Browns team, but with the way that football is played today, and me and Kevin have butted heads on this for a while, but I have to just learn to accept it, Kareem Hunt is more of what today's running back looks like in the NFL, not the ground and pound, square your shoulders up to the line of scrimmage and hit the ground running. It's a lot of, okay, can you do that? Yes, but what can you do for me as far as the passing game is concerned? Kev, Kareem Hunt has spent all preseason prepping working twice as hard as everyone else on the team. He is at every running backs meeting, and he is at every wide receivers meeting. He is going to do it all, and the Browns just got him for $5.5 million a year for the next 3 or 4 years, and he is just as good as with some of the top running backs in the National Football League. You just haven't got to see it consistently enough because of his own problems, okay? Right. Self-inflicted wounds. I'm not defending him. All I'm saying is that the Cleveland Browns got a steal today, $5.5 million for Kareem Hunt for the next 3 years. And I say this because I do not believe when Nick Chubb's time is coming up to be paid, if he is going to demand top dollar, like what Kamara and some of these other guys are going to be paying, like Derrick Henry and others, I don't think he's going to get it. I think the Cleveland Browns send a message to Nick Chubb saying, you're going to ask for a reasonable amount of money, because if not, well, we got our guy moving forward.
Right.
I don't know if Nick Chubb is a long-term running back with the Cleveland Browns moving forward. This can be an interesting season coming up, but I love the Kareem Hunt signing. They got him for a steal, and I think he will be just as productive as Kamara and some of those other top backs in the league. Good for Cleveland. We don't get to compliment them too often. I do, but again, every show I'm watching over, leading into today, everyone is just glowing right now about the steal that the Browns just got and the money. Very surprised that Kareem Hunt agreed to this deal, but that's how much he really looks forward to playing in the Stefanski system, setting up a bigger payday a couple years from now. That's how confident he is in the Browns system heading into 2020. So that's another good thing.
They got a steal for sure, because when he was with KC, he was one of the most explosive backs in the NFL. And they got that still because of all the situations he got himself into off the field. So they were able to lock him in for a good deal for the Browns and for him, to be honest. It was both are going to be compensated very well. The Browns going to be compensated because he's going to be producing on the field. He's getting compensated money-wise, and maybe he wouldn't have got that on the open market. But you do bring up a great point about Nick Chubb. This does put Nick Chubb in a bind once he's up, because they're going to say, we've already paid one running back. We're going to have to go ahead and draft the second running back. We can't pay both of you guys. Now, I'm a proponent for paying guys what their value is and what they produced and everything like that, but you can't pay both of them. There's no way you can pay both running backs. So they've already made that investment. So Nick Chubb, it's now or never. You got to ball out this season, and then, hopefully request a trade to somebody else that's going to give you your big payday, because the Browns have made it evident they're not going to be paying you because they can't pay you.
Yeah, and whatever that market is going to be interesting. But Browns fans, I want to hear from you. We're going to open up the phone lines at 457-9464. Also, head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and leave your thoughts on the Browns extension for Kareem Hunt and what that means for the Browns moving forward. I think that this is a signal. Look, I'm really impressed with what the Browns are doing as far as roster construction is concerned. Now, we can, again, everyone's focused that people love to hate on the Browns, and that's fine, but that's not really what I'm going for here as far as trying to rile everybody up by talking Browns. So if you pay attention to what the Cleveland Browns are doing right now, it makes a ton of sense. There are some teams, Kevin, that build their team strictly around their quarterback and say, we're going to live and die by our quarterback. Mm-hmm. The Buccaneers have done something that I think that the Browns are trying to follow the model of, and that is this. Yes, we hope we have our quarterback in place, but if we don't have our quarterback in place, Do we have enough weapons that make us an enticing landing spot for some of the top free agent quarterbacks out there? You don't like the Bears. The Bears are in a situation where they put all their money into the defensive side. The Packers put all their money into the defensive side. If Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, of course you have Jordan Love there. But Nick Foles obviously in Chicago. But if Trubisky, who was named the starter for Chicago late last week, but if Trubisky and Nick Foles aren't there, free agent quarterbacks, who's lining up to go play in Chicago? Right. Even with that great defense, who's lining up to go play there? Not happening. Green Bay, take Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. What free agent quarterbacks are lining up to go play in Green Bay? Now, it's a good organization, Super Bowl organization. It's a winning but there's no free agents are lining up to go play in Green Bay with hardly any weapons. Sure, the run game's not terrible, but there's no elite weapons there. So that's where you look at the Buccaneers, because let's be clear. When I think of the Bears and I think of the Packers, two organizations that I would take hands down any day of the week over the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are not a fantastic organization. They're not one of your traditional blue bloods of the National Football League. In fact, they're more known for back in the day when they had those ugly, creamsicle colored jerseys and their fans putting bags over their heads. That's mainly what the Buccaneers are known for. But guess what? You know what? That didn't matter to Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't care about what the Buccaneers were in the past. Tom Brady cared about who they are now, what they have now. Tom Brady cared about what can I go and accomplish now with this group. And I bring up the Buccaneers because the Browns are in a very similar spot. Let's say Baker doesn't work out, Kev. Sure, you have Case Keenum, but let's be clear. Keenum is a guy that is going to be the bridge guy between if Baker doesn't work out and who they really want to be the quarterback moving forward, even if it's in the short term. I started looking at some of the contracts for the Cleveland Browns today, and it really kind of told a great story, Kev. How about this? Austin Hooper they have through the end of 2022. All right, you have Odell Beckham Jr. through the end of 23. You have Jarvis Landry through 22. All right, you have Nick Chubb through 22, Kareem Hunt through 23, obviously, and then Case Keenum through 23, Baker through next season. Everything is leading up to that 2022-2023 season. You have all of your weapons through there.
Right.
All right. All the main Austin Hooper through 23, OBJ through 23, Jarvis through 22. But again, I think they'll figure that out when that time comes. My point is this. Let's say Baker's not the guy. Let's say that he totally flops once again coming up here in 2020. I don't anticipate that. But what the Cleveland Browns have done is they've basically given themselves an out, Kev, because if the Browns fail in 2020, it's on Baker. It's not on the organization. I mean, sure, you could say they shouldn't have drafted him, but Baker was going to be drafted high one way or another. So that's why I'm not always big on, they flopped in that pick. Like for Josh Rosen, for instance, someone was going to take Josh Rosen.
Right.
Josh Rosen was going to be taken top 10 one way or another. I'm not going to penalize the team that take it. So that's why I always don't like criticizing teams on their drafts, especially up top. I'm going to criticize you more for who you get or, compliment you for who you get later in the draft. But a lot of times we know who the top players are at the top of a draft, and someone's going to take them in that top 10. It's just a matter of who, and it's a matter about what you do with them. So let's say Baker doesn't work out. Well, you still have an enticing package that you're going to be able to go out and lure top quarterbacks in. Now, here's some top quarterbacks that are going to be available in the next 2 years. Guys that there's not a big chance. No one thought Tom Brady was going to Tampa. So don't scoff when I start bringing up these names, please. Just hear me out.
Gotcha.
Big Ben's available in 2 years. Big Ben's available in 2 years. If Big Ben is saying, I have one more good year left or 2 more good years left, I would like to go play with an OBJ and a Nick Chubb and a Kareem Hunt and an Austin Hooper. All right? I'm just saying. I doubt that happens, but I'm just saying. This is what the Browns have done. It's what the Buccaneers did. Now, they didn't anticipate that Tom Brady would go there, but that ended up being a landing spot. They weren't building around Jameis Winston. They were building around the idea that if Jameis works, great, but if not, we're going to have to find someone else that'll come in here and fill the void. Too many teams live and die by their quarterback. The Packers do it with Aaron Rodgers. If they don't have Aaron Rodgers, they have no chance of winning. If the Bears don't have Trubisky or Nick Foles, they have no chance of winning. The Browns, if you don't have Baker Mayfield, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to win, but you have a sexy enough product that you're going to be a desirable landing spot for a quarterback out there who wants weapons. Aaron Rodgers is available here in 2 seasons. You have OBJ, you have Jarvis, you have Austin Hooper, you have Chubb and Kareem Hunt throughout that stretch. You mean to tell me Aaron Rodgers, who in Green Bay right now, his biggest complaint is that his team gives him 0 offensive weapons. They haven't drafted they've drafted one offensive piece since drafting Aaron Rodgers back in the early 2000s. They have drafted only one offensive piece since then, and that is his replacement. Like, that team did not commit to him offensively. The Browns committed to Baker Mayfield. The Browns committed to Baker Mayfield by getting him an OBJ, getting him a Jarvis Landry, getting him an Austin Hooper, getting him, drafting Nick Chubb, and then getting a Kareem Hunt, and then extending him. So if Baker succeeds, great. He has a core moving forward that he's going to have success for a long time moving forward. If he's not the guy, if you're Aaron Rodgers, sure, it's Cleveland. But you know what? Tom Brady could have said, God, it's the Buccaneers. I mean, Tampa's a little bit more of a sexier landing spot than Cleveland, don't get me wrong, but the team itself. What about Tampa can make Tom Brady feel like he's confident that he can win there? That's not a winning organization. The Browns aren't a winning organization, but these guys have a short window. Aaron Rodgers at the back end here, he's going to want one more shot at a Super Bowl. And if he feels like there's enough weapons in Cleveland, which again, it's a long shot. I'm just throwing out these ideas that the Buccaneers, Cleveland set up like Tampa, to where if Jameis would have worked out for Tampa, if he throws half of the interceptions he did last year, that's a playoff team. And I'm not saying a Super Bowl contender, but a Super Bowl threat if they're hot enough offensively with the weapons that they have. That's where I'm at with Cleveland right now. Have they committed to Baker? Oh, there's no excuse for Baker at the end of the season, but they also have enough weapons that Case Keenum can get them through next season and prepare them for a quarterback search after that. They're not hitting the reset button. I don't see that at all. If Baker succeeds, great. If he doesn't, great. They are not going to live and die by Baker's success, because if he doesn't work out, they will get by with Case Keenum for 2 more years or a year if they have to, and then go get a quarterback that would love to come in and win with these weapons. Tom Brady probably hates Baker Mayfield for not getting it done with the weapons that he has. Aaron Rodgers should hate Baker Mayfield for not getting it done with the weapons he has. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers would have killed for that talent throughout their career. Tom Brady's getting that now at Tampa. Aaron Rodgers still looking for that kind of talent. That's all I'm trying to say as far as that's concerned.
That's fair. I mean, you got to look at it from the Browns aspect of, it's a starving organization for some type of winning, any type of winning. We can, talk about Super Bowls later, but, getting to the playoffs, having a playoff run. I mean, everybody was so hyped about going to last season, and it blew up in every Browns fan's face, from coaching, from drop passes to interceptions to fumbles. The only bright spot for the team was the power run game from Nick Chubb. And now they revamped everything. They're really going to be relying on Nick Chubb. They got a new offensive staff. They got new coordinators. Everything's new about the Browns. The whole NFL circus is in Tampa or in Cincinnati, checking out what's going on with Joey B and everything like that. So it's been very quiet out of the Browns. Today is a big news day. Everything involving the Browns, from OBJ to the latest signing extension with Kareem Hunt. So, the season starts. The season starts on Thursday, and then everything really kicks off in full swing on Sunday. And they got their first matchup against the Ravens.
And that's not the biggest. Yeah, that's not the team you want to open up with, as far as I'm concerned. But I will say this: regardless of what you think the Browns will be in 2020, I give the Browns front office an A+ right now for the job that they're doing, Kev, because we ripped the Packers, and I'm not a fan of how I know the Steelers, they have their way of doing things. They build from within. That's sometimes a scary way of doing things, though, because they've been able to find talented receivers and running backs and all that, and they have Super Bowls to go with this. So I'm definitely not saying Cleveland, they need to follow Cleveland's route. But as a fan, I'm a bigger fan of how Cleveland is going about doing things than I would be as far as Pittsburgh. Now, you're used to how Steelers do things, so you're not concerned.
I'm the only reason I'm not a fan of the whole, go, quote unquote, buy you a championship, you win the offseason, because I remember when Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders went to the Washington football team, and everybody in their mind was all hyped, like, oh man, look, now we got the Hall of Fame defensive end, we got a Hall of Fame quarterback, and it blew up in their face. You know why? Because them dudes was old and over the hill. They got one last big payday out of the Washington football team. Kudos to them for getting paid, but I just don't believe in, like, that's your go-to line, paying free agents. Now, what Tampa Bay and what the Browns potentially could be setting up are two totally different things between, spending all your money in free agency. They're spending money and building their team through the draft and things of that nature as well. But their missing piece would be that quarterback position. I mean, you look at Tampa Bay, Mike Evans was drafted there. The running back was drafted there. The offensive line, the defensive guys are all drafted there. The big free agent piece is the quarterback. So it's just a different way of doing it. Back when Deion went to the Cowboys, he was the free agent piece, not the quarterback piece. It's just a different way of doing it. I really don't have a problem with that. It's just a matter of fact, can you find that quarterback? Is that quarterback going to be available? Who says that, Big Ben's arm don't fall off this season and he's not available for the Steelers or for a free agency run?
They got rid of Duck Goose. They got rid of Hodges, by the way, over the weekend.
Oh, they picked him up on the practice squad.
But
welcome back, Duck.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, who's to say that? I mean, I just think that's a very risky way to try to go about winning games and winning the Super Bowl, like going out to get the veteran quarterback that's trying to get one last championship a la Peyton Manning. Like, I think that's far more risky than getting the young guy.
No, and hear me out. And for those who heard it that way, I'm not saying that the Browns front office is sitting down saying, all right, we're going to go after Aaron Rodgers. My point is that the Buccaneers didn't plan on getting Tom Brady either.
Right.
It was kind of one of those things as things started developing in New England.
Very organic.
They started looking at it like, well, man, we do have the weapons that all of a sudden we become a little bit of a lucrative landing spot. Like Tom Brady's not trying to go to, like when they brought up the Dolphins. What in Miami made you think that, outside of the weather, what made you think that Tom Brady was going to go there and succeed? Because we all know that Tom Brady, you look at, obviously, Jameis Winston, who has less talent than Tom Brady, in my opinion. All right. And Jameis Winston, the talent around him elevated him. That's why he threw all those touchdowns. But again, his deficiency was taking care of the football, had 30 plus interceptions last season. That was his downfall. Tom Brady throws for the same amount has the same amount of passing attempts, same amount of completions, a higher completion percentage, by the way, slightly. And yet, because he had no weapons around him, the total yardage for him was just off the chart. He still threw for 24 touchdowns. He still threw for 4,000 yards. All right, Jameis only threw for 1,000 more yards than Tom Brady, but we looked at Jameis last year as this offensive juggernaut minus the interceptions, and then that's why they couldn't stick with it. My point is that if you look at the Browns, if it doesn't work out with Baker Mayfield, they're not screwed, Kev. Like, it's not the end of the world because they could bounce back quickly. They're a spot that if you're a quarterback out there that's looking for a spot, you become at least a destination. You become an option.
Yeah.
Miami's not an option because they don't have weapons right now. But the Browns would become a destination spot because they have weapons. So that's what I mean as far as that's concerned. They're not living and dying by Baker Mayfield. I hope Baker succeeds. But again, it's not the end of the world in Cleveland if Baker doesn't work out because they have the weapons that, hey, we could still win games. You can win games with Case Keenum. You're not winning a Super Bowl, but you could win games with Case Keenum if it comes down to it. That's as far as that is concerned moving forward. But the Bears, everything is built around Trubisky having success or not. If he doesn't have success, they are not a landing spot. No one is trying to get to Chicago. Now, you're probably saying no one's trying to get to Cleveland either. It's maybe take out the city, put the pieces on the team. No one's trying to get to the talent on Chicago's team. People might be trying to get to the talent on Cleveland's team if you're a quarterback looking for weapons, just the same way Tom Brady was looking to get to Tampa. Tampa's a good, weather-wise. But the organization, you're not going to convince me that organization is head and shoulders better than Cleveland. They are just as known for synonymously with losing as Cleveland is, except they at least have a Super Bowl to go with it. So there's that. Which that helps everything. So there you go. All right, folks, we're going to talk some more NFL coming up here around the corner. So I already admitted I was semi-wrong on one thing. I'll get into what I was wrong about coming up here in a little bit as well. ESPN simulated the entire 2020 football season. Where do they have your Browns? Where do they have your Bengals? What about Kev's Steelers? Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, what kind of season are they going to have? I don't think the Super Bowl championship trophy has just been handed to them yet. In the eyes of some, though, that's the case. What about this ESPN simulated season? We'll get to that coming up around the corner. Trevor Bauer, one of the top pitchers in baseball, continuing to be a me guy and not a we guy. I'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit as well. That's all coming up on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Don't go anywhere, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon is going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 90. Tonight's going to be clear with a low around 65. And tomorrow's going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 91. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
This is the Frells family. They live on a piece of land they call greener pasture, and they work on it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. With its durable construction and features that hook up to dozens of attachments with ease, no job is too tough. The Frells family runs with us, because this is more than just land. It's home. Nothing runs like a deer. Get a 1 Series tractor for just $99 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
It's a new season. And it's Sport Clips haircuts. All of our stylists are clean certified and guy smart. So come in and get yourself back in the game with our legendary MVP experience. It's a mancation with our hot steam towel, relaxing shampoo, and a winning cut. Check in online and walk out with confidence. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
And you be stepping out like a pro. It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract, full coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Hey race fans, Marty Smith here. Is there a hometown original hero in your hometown who's gone above and beyond in serving your local community during this year's pandemic? If so, Smithfield wants to help you honor them. Share their stories and feature their names on the Smithfield number 10 race car later this year at Martinsville. So whether your hero is a nurse, EMT, police officer, or grocery store worker, nominate them at SmithfieldHometownHeroes.com and upload a 1-minute video that tells their story. Contest ends September 13th, 2020. No purchase necessary.
Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle is your local authorized dealer for the Hustler mower family. Stop in today and take a look at the Hustler Fast Track with a 4-year, 400-hour limited warranty. The Hustler X1, the Hustler Super Z, the Hustler Super Z Hyperdrive are all ready to take on the big jobs. Turn your weekend to-do list into your weekend to-done list. Hustler, tools, not toys. Visit Small Engine Service Pros at 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle, 845-3445.
Brewster's is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. Our Roosters family would like to thank all of our loyal Roosters guests who have supported us during these challenging times. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to keep our team members employed. We are striving to do everything we can to keep you and our team safe. Find a location near you at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
In these times, it's important to look after yourself. At Kettering Health Network, we offer telehealth video visits so you can see Kettering Physician Network providers from the comfort of your home using your computer, tablet, or phone. With Kettering Telehealth, you can keep up with your wellness visits, see a specialist, and everything in between. Start by visiting ketteringhealth.org/telehealth. Kettering Health Network.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
I'm thinking of you. What kinder words could be more meaningful at a time like this? At First Florist and Greenhouses, we know everyone is coping the best they can. And when hugs are not possible, a kind word or gesture can bring comfort and a smile. So today, make that phone call or send a heartfelt note to someone you care about. And if you'd like to send a fresh bouquet of flowers, we can help with that. We're First Florist and Greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton, a local family-owned business since 1905. And we're thinking of you.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with home daily lanes. $2,000 sign-on bonus, great pay and benefits. Contact Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation. Driven to succeed.
Third floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school is this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything like lap desks, computers, and UV sanitizers. This week, the 15-inch Lenovo IdeaPad 3 laptop with Intel Core i3 processor is just $399. You save $130. Shop in-store, order online, or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Ends 9/12. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Always get your go-to with the new $10 Tastemaker from Pizza Hut. A large pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10. Choose contactless delivery or curbside pickup at pizzahut.com. Price higher in some locations. Limited time for availability of contactless curbside and delivery areas. Charges minimum vary. Delivery charge not tip.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green, the iconic cleaning formula known around the globe. Try a Simple Green product today, and if you're not 100% satisfied, I'll refund your money. Visit us at simplegreen.com.
The Lowe's for Pros loyalty program gives pros personalized offers, purchase tracking, and more. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/pro-loyalty. Terms and conditions apply. U.S. only.
Reds fans, don't miss the Justin Kinner Show, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. You'll get the latest Reds news, headlines, lineups, player features, and recaps. Don't miss a game or a show on Dayton's home of the Reds, ESPN 1410, Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The Cleveland Browns extending Kareem Hunt for 2 more years. A total of $16.5 million will be paid over the next 3 years, averaging out to about $5.5 million a year. And then, of course, you look at the fact that you have Nick Chubb on a rookie contract. I mean, you think about as far as bang for your dollar. I haven't paid attention to, as far as total running back total running back spending around the National Football League. But Kev, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say I highly doubt that anyone out there has more bang for their buck than the Browns do with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You have Nick Chubb on a rookie deal making about a little over $1 million a year. Nick Chubb, and then Kareem Hunt at $5.5 million. You're getting all that for about $7 million a year. And then you got teams like the Bengals spending $12.5 million on Joe Mixon. And again, by the way, if roles are reversed, and that's the only. But this is why. And I know this is a stretch, but over the weekend, Adrian Peterson, who was released by the Washington football team, signed with the Lions.
Right.
He signed with the Lions for $1 million. Okay, for 1 year. I got lit up on Friday because I said, look, I think the Cincinnati Bengals should at least kick the tires on potentially looking at Adrian Peterson. Every Bengals fan in the world called me every name that you could imagine in the book. And I'm like, that was just a suggestion. I wasn't even, I say meaner. That wasn't even mean. I rip the Bengals all the time and get less pushback for that. So I was really confused as to why that triggered so many people because someone says Adrian Peterson is older than my dad. Look, if you think that I'm suggesting Adrian Peterson because I think he's going to come in and save the day, and unless your dad can still go in and nearly rush for 1,000 yards a season, which Adrian Peterson was doing apparently when he wasn't in a wheelchair, according to this guy at the retirement home. I don't know what else all I'm saying is you want to put veterans around your rookie quarterback? That's one way to do it. Joe Mixon, a veteran. I have what's wrong with that? And for $1 million a year, adding Peterson in there as far as that's concerned. But nonetheless, not the end of the world. The Bengals, I'm laughing at them every day of the week anyway, so that just gave me something else to laugh at. If he can go to the Lions, so there you go. He played for the Lions. No, that was Reggie Bush that we're talking about.
I don't get the Lions for him. I just don't get it. They drafted DeAndre Swift. They got Kerryon Johnson as well. I just don't get it. I don't get the fit there. He's not going to get the touches that he's thinking he's going to get, at least in my mind. I mean, They already got 2 young running backs ahead of him. I just don't get it. But hey, man,
and I'm surprised he went there. And
that's my whole thing. Like, why would you go there? Like I agree with you with the Bengals thing. Like, you can get to the Bengals and you can get at least anywhere between 5 and 10 touches a game. I don't think there's a way you can get any touches with the Lions. They got 2 running backs already.
I think he just wanted paid. I think he wanted paid. And no one else was probably willing to fork over $1 million. But my whole point about the Peterson to Cincinnati thing was this. That offensive line's questionable. And if we know what strengths Joe Mixon brings to the table, he did not have a great year last year. It wasn't a bad year, by the way. You look at the numbers, and it's like when you hear people say he didn't have as good a year as he did the year before, still a 1,000-yard guy. He had a fine year last year. Like, I'm not bashing on Joe Mixon. All I'm saying is any weapons you could provide that offense right now on the cheap, you got to do it. But if you look around the National Football League, the two good running backs, approach is really what everyone's doing, which is why I would have been a little more aggressive with that if I was the Bengals, mainly because Adrian Peterson would not be used the way you'd use Joe Mixon. I'm looking at that as an approach like what we're talking about with the Browns, Kevin, where Nick Chubb's going to take care of the heavy lifting as far as taking the pounding, running, into the line of scrimmage. Kareem Hunt's capable of doing that too, but he's going to make an impact as far as what he's able to do through the passing game. And that's where Joe Mixon could come into play as far as that's concerned. Adrian Peterson, he's a rental. You know what happens when you drive a rental? You don't take care of that rental as much as you would your own car. If you only have Adrian Peterson for a year, give him the pounding. While you're testing out that offensive line, let him go get beat up at the line of scrimmage while Joe Mixon takes care, of the contributions as far as the passing game is concerned. Anyways, it's over with. He's with the Lions. That's all I was trying to say as far as that over the weekend. I was not impressed with the fit, though. I thought he would, everyone kept saying he'd end up in Dallas. Going to Detroit, like you said, Kev, makes no sense. It had to have been a financial thing. They were probably willing to offer him more money than anyone else. But man, the Lions, they're just a joke. They're just that franchise.
Oh, Pam.
No, that franchise is just strange. The decisions they make don't make any sense as far as that's concerned. We'll see.
AP also, he had a cup of coffee with the Saints. And they cut him very quick because of the emergence of Alvin Kamara.
Yep. And by the way, they're closing in on the deal as well.
Big time playmaker, man. Big time playmaker. Kamara is a big time playmaker. I mean, not only in the running game, but in the passing game. And him being that threat opens up the passing game for others. And that's what the Browns are betting on Kareem Hunt doing.
Shaw says maybe Mixon didn't want a guy like AP on the team. Mixon wants to be the guy. Maybe Shaw, but the thing is, there's no way in hell that Peterson was coming in to be the guy, even if it was for 1 year. I'm talking about in terms of like a complimentary back, Mixon's the guy. That's all I was trying
to
take
a series off, let you get your win, and you close it out.
But Bernard or who, that's
not going to get it done.
If that's what you want to roll with, more power to you.
Giovanni Bernard is a toy. He's a guy that can be used in the swing passing game and screen game like that. But you're not running Giovanni Bernard between the tackles. He's just basically like Chris Thompson was when he was with the Washington football team. He was basically a receiver out the backfield, like a Theo Riddick when he was with the Lions and everything like that. You're not using Giovanni Bernard between the tackles. 4th and 1, you're going to give it to Gio? No, you're not. It's just not going to happen.
Tim Haberstroh on Facebook says he's cruising down the street in a 64. So there's that.
Salute.
I mean, got to do what you got to do as far as that's concerned. But regardless, we are week one of the NFL season, and we're going to get a chance to see the Browns and the Bengals coming up later on this weekend. And I'm just glad that we're able to, we've done all the talking for the Browns and Bengals we could do. I've taken all the shots at the Bengals organization that I can.
Oh, you got a lot left.
I've defended the Browns about as much as I can. I can't defend the OBJ stuff from earlier today. That's a little,
Are we going there?
No. I mean, we're going to save our crappy topics for later on in the show.
That's great.
You set me up. I had no choice. Man, that stinks. But anyways, what? No. For those who don't understand what we're talking about, you will, or if you want, just go search OBJ on Twitter and you'll understand what we're talking about. But that's a mess. Don says, don't let the Lions. Don't the Lions have like 6 running backs? Isn't that a lot? I'm sure. I'm not sure what is normal for a run. No, Don, that's what Kev was just saying. Like, it didn't make any sense for him to go there, but it didn't make sense for him to go there. But they gave him $1 million for 1 year.
Good for him.
He tried to give this speech about, I just want to go and help it. Kind of lead a team and teach a team. No, you don't. You just want that money. I'm surprised, though, he didn't chase a ring somewhere. But that's because the Buccaneers are basically absorbed every piece of talent out there. The Saints are about to get Alvin Kamara, and lock him up long term. And, the Ravens wouldn't have made any sense. They just got Dobbins. So who knows? But bottom line is, I thought that was interesting over the weekend. Also, how about the Cardinals? The Cardinals wrapping up a deal right now to make Hopkins one of the highest paid wide receivers in football. $54 million.
Big money.
And I'm trying to get some more details on this. I'm opening this up now just to kind of see. But DeAndre Hopkins has a deal with the Arizona Cardinals. They have their star wide receiver for the foreseeable future. He's going to get $42.5 million guaranteed through the 2024 season. It's a $94 million total deal.
I love it. I love seeing people get paid, man.
He's going to be making $18.5 million a year.
That's crazy numbers for a wide receiver.
And they said he's likely to be the heir apparent to Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, that's not likely. I mean, that's what's going on here.
Right, definitely. I mean, you look at the weapons Kyler Murray now has. He has obviously DeAndre Hopkins, the Hall of Famer Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk from people maybe not remember, but he was a super baller at Texas A&M. Got him in the slot. Also got Kenyon Drake from Alabama out the backfield, who's also a good receiver out the backfield. You know, it's kind of like you said, load your young quarterback up with weapons and see what happens. And they're definitely got a lot of weapons for him, man. So we're going to see what happens.
Ron Moreland says the Bengals need Peterson as much as the Browns need Baker Mayfield. Hey, what's up with OJB? I don't know what's up with OJB, Ron, but OBJ, I don't know. He's found himself in a smelly situation, so we'll keep our eye on that as far as that's concerned. But, Don goes on to say on Facebook, again, taking your reaction on social media on Facebook right now. I'm not sure if Kevin talked about this since I came on late, his thought on the release of Duck Duck Goose and picking up Dobbs. So there you go.
You know what? I really don't.
The Steelers, obviously.
Yeah. I would have preferred Duck Hodges if any Steeler fan watched the season last year play out. Obviously, they were hampered because of the lack of quarterback play from Mason Rudolph, who I am not a fan of at all. I think they need to go ahead and dump him and keep Duck as the backup and Dobbs from Tennessee as the third guy, because just the ability of Duck to move the pocket, to actually try to run for a first down, to actually make a pass that a wide receiver could catch, that helps. So, I was all about trying to get Jalen Hurts in the draft, like in the second round, to be the heir apparent. But for some strange reason, my Pittsburgh Steelers love Mason Rudolph to be the next quarterback of the franchise, which I don't see. All the great things that the Steelers do, all the great things that Steelers do in the draft and everything they do in player development, this guy ain't got it. And I hope he proves me wrong. I pray he proves me wrong, because we know the Steelers not going to get rid of him. I hope they prove me wrong, but I just don't see it. I'm glad Duck is on the practice squad, because if something happens to Big Ben again, he will be the starter, because Mason Rudolph stinks.
We're not talking OBJ right now.
Oh, goodness.
What?
I just walked into that. I just stepped in that.
Yeah. I mean, you squatted right into that one. All right, 457-9464. That's the number to call into the show. We'll go ahead and take some of your calls coming up here in just a few moments. But again, we opened up talking about the huge extension for the Browns and Kareem Hunt. And as I mentioned, I think the Kareem Hunt extension it's not a good, like, I look at Nick Chubb, like I always looked at Nick Chubb. Obviously, Nick Chubb's a featured back, with Kareem Hunt being, a complimentary piece to the run game. But I think the Browns today made it very clear that, hey, they value Nick Chubb. Don't get me wrong. But I think that Kareem Hunt brings a little bit more to the table as far as some of the things that I'm not a big fan of, that Kevin has talked about throughout the week, in regards to, he brings more to the game and then just what he could do with his legs. I mean, it's what he could do with his hands in the passing game. One thing I found very interesting about Kareem Hunt throughout this preseason is the fact that he has worked harder than pretty much anyone else on the team, because he is, for one, with COVID, you have your running backs and your quarterbacks, you have your different positions reporting to camp at different times of the day, because they don't want everyone there at the same time. So with that being said, you have Kareem Hunt, who is reporting for all the running back camps and then all the wide receiver camps and all the meetings. Like, he's working twice as hard as everybody else. That to me shows that the Browns are looking at Kareem Hunt long-term as having a little bit more value than Nick Chubb. And who's to say that they don't get a deal done with Chubb when that time comes at the end of this coming up season? But I do believe that by getting the deal done with Kareem Hunt now, it gives the Browns leverage when dealing with Nick Chubb, saying, hey, we want you. We really want you. You're a hell of a talent. We don't need you. If you leave us, where you're not leaving us high and dry, we got Kareem Hunt. So I do believe that the Kareem Hunt deal does give the Browns leverage when that time does come, because the running back it's just backloaded like you would not believe as far as next year's free agent class is concerned. Some of those names are being taken off, though. Like Kamara is about to be taken off that list. Chubb is going to be on that list now as far as that's concerned. Mixon's going to be taken off that list. So it's going to be interesting as far as that's concerned moving forward. We have time for a call. Let's go to Charlie. Charlie, what's up, man? How are you?
Justin, look, you know what? I remember last football season thinking that I was like, I don't know about Justin. But then during the off season, you had this great logical mind, okay? And now I'm starting to remember why I was at odds with you.
Here we go. You were doing so good. I thought we were going somewhere.
your logical brain went to sleep and your emotional brain woke up. And now you're saying that Kareem Hunt is some amazing steal, and because you love the Browns so much, you just are just everything like. It's just like the stuff with Jabril Peppers and Odell Beckham and how amazing Odell is, and you are his number one fan. But you think that the Browns have set a team up that is just going to attract free agent quarterback. And what are you doing with Baker? You're just counting Baker Mayfield out right now.
No, I'm not. What I said is that the Browns have prepared themselves for a life with or without Baker Mayfield. Too many teams. What do you mean? Because if they don't have Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum is capable of winning with this group. Say that again.
You have one star on your offense, and he's not paid. It is Nick Chubb. Everyone else is has-beens or are not gonna be's. And then, and you're not going to get anybody to come in there and play quarterback because it's still Cleveland. It's dysfunctional.
Tampa was considered dysfunctional. Tampa is not. I mean, yes, they do have a Super Bowl in the last at least in the last 2 decades. But Tampa is a joke of an organization too. And outside of at least the destination of where they're located, that's not a landing spot too. And they got possibly the greatest quarterback of all time lured over there because why? They had talent. It's not a great organization, but they had talent.
Well, he had to land somewhere, and I'm not okay with the Leonard Fournette signing. It's the same thing with Odell Beckham, and
for that price, they got him for the cheap.
Yeah, but Cleveland was going in such a good direction. You get rid of Duke Johnson, get rid of Jabril Peppers, guys that you drafted and who are great players, and you start bringing in these guys who are inflated egos.
First of all, Jabril Peppers was a bust, never lived up to anything.
Peterson, because we don't have good running backs. Is that what you're saying?
Say that again. Did we lose him?
Apparently.
I never said the Bengals don't have good running backs. They have a top 10 running back in Joe Mixon, obviously. But again, if you look at the teams that win around the National Football League, it's not just one running back. They have a strong running game as a whole, and they have that with Mixon. And besides, I was only suggesting that they get Peterson because you could have got him for cheap. Why are Bengals fans? And again, it's my fault because I do nothing but take shots at the Bengals. But when I do have a genuine suggestion for the Bengals, it's always taken as a slight, and I don't get that. I don't get that.
It's because you're not a Patriots fan. You can't take jazz like that. Your team's garbage.
Never. I'm just going to remain calm. It's my first day back after a 3-day weekend.
Kev can take jazz because he's a Steelers fan. And look at what the Steelers and the Patriots are doing this year.
What?
Look at what they're doing. They're just hanging back. The Steelers could have brought a quarterback in. You know, it's like, yeah, the Patriots were $800.
They did. They had Jabba the Hutt that they brought in at one point, and then he lost a little bit of weight and shaved his beard.
Keep that same energy.
Good teams are not desperate. They know what's going on. They see the situation.
Desperate's going after Cam Newton if you're the Patriots then.
Aaron Rodgers is never coming to Cleveland.
Tom Brady was never going to Tampa.
If Tampa Bay's got Bruce Arians, they got a built team. You don't have you brought in these free agents that are names. These aren't good players. Jarvis Landry is good. That's the one good free agent you got.
Look, today's not the day for me to defend OBJ because I'm not going to touch that. I'm just not going there with OBJ today. But bottom line is this roster has talent all over it. I have no clue. The only reason that the Browns get ripped as much as they do is because they lost last year with talent. The Browns aren't being talked about if they're losing with bum players, Charlie. They lost with talent. That's why they're being talked about. That's why the Reds are a disgrace in baseball because they have talent and they're losing with talent. That's what happens. All right, when bad teams lose with bad players, no one talks about them. That's why we didn't talk about the Bengals until it was draft time last year.
Well, did we play week 2? Is that Bengals?
We play 17th. It's coming up around the corner, 17th, 18th, or something like that. You think I'm obnoxious now, Charlie? Here we go, Brownies, baby.
I hope you block my number that following Monday.
Well, I hope you call in that following Monday. But, Charlie, we're out, man. We're out. You do got a fan right now. David says that you are bringing the facts. And, it's like it's the alternative facts that we've heard so much about.
The Bengals are building a culture. The Browns are building a circus. Have a good one.
You can't just hang up with Charlie after that.
He left you.
He did one of these. It was a mic drop. Good for Charlie. You can tell the football season's here, baby. People are bringing it. They're bringing it. We'll keep bringing it. By the way, you see The Rock got COVID-19.
Yeah.
You know how they found out?
No.
They couldn't smell what The Rock was cooking anymore. We'll be back in a moment.
Goodness.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the summer clearance event at New Carlisle Chrysler. I'm Chris Toby. At New Carlisle, our primary focus is your safety and ours. We are practicing safe social distancing. Probably like you, we hate it, but we are wearing our masks and we are diligently cleaning the dealership. If you're more comfortable handling your sales and service needs from home, we can help you. Visit TobyAuto.com, where you can complete all aspects of the vehicle purchase, including financing and trade appraisals, schedule service, or simply get a question answered. Most importantly, stay safe out there. We will get through this together.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
O'Reilly. Don't miss the Labor Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now through September 8th, you can get some great deals like Valvoline Max Life Motor Oil, just $26.95, and get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Or Bosch Pure Vision Wiper Blades. Buy one, get one free. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. Start with a network of over 250 authorized dealerships, backed by a sales force ready to help you with everything from customization to service on vans like the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that's tailored to your lifestyle. With options like Blind Spot Assist and MBUX voice command for spoken directions, weather, and more.
The route is being calculated.
So whether you're enjoying life on the trail or working hard on the job, see how far an extra mile can really go by taking the first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership today. Mercedes-Benz vans start at just $33,790, now with 0% APR financing for up to 60 months.
MSRP in our 2019 Sprinter van excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Some equipment is practice optional. APR valid on 2019 Sprinter vans, excluding cab chassis, only to qualified commercial customers exclusively through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services at participating dealers through September 30th, 2020.
Ritz-Hall North America LLC in Urbana has several great opportunities for you. Ritz-Hall will be conducting a hiring event at their facility on Saturday, September 12th, between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. for on-the-spot interviews. They are seeking experienced assembly operators, welders, machine operators, and paint loaders. Starting wage up to $16 per hour. Ritz-Hall offers outstanding benefits and opportunities. Identification is required for entry access. Ritz-Hall is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
Give your home lasting protection with low-maintenance vinyl siding from Menards and get 11% off. Cedar Creek Vinyl Siding offers exceptional value. Or step up to thicker Harbor Ridge or Timbercrest Premium Vinyl Siding, or get the ultimate with Super Premium Richmond Vinyl Siding. They're all 11% off. Prices are good until September 12th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
They can bulge, go bald, wear down, flatten, or be in dire need of replacing. No, guys, it's not you. We're talking about your tires. Let Fat Boys get your car rolling again, safe and sound. Fat Boys carries tires in all makes, styles, and sizes, including Continental, Goodyear, Michelin, and more. Check out Fat Boys' new location in North Dayton at the corner of Meadmore and I-75 or 3050 Springboro Pike in South Dayton. Fat Boys, your ultimate resource for wheels, tire, service, and accessories. Look for Fat Boys at fatboysdayton.com.
Hi folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $14.95, plats of annuals starting at $12.95, and hanging baskets as low as $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry. So come out to 1309 Brant Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
Bromley's for Men makes it easy to choose the right shaving routine. In fact, we've done the work for you. Our 7-blade razor with the no-slip get-a-grip handle gives you the smoothest shave possible. Bromley's practically puts your shaving routine on autopilot. Seriously, if we could physically shave your face for you, we would. Find the Bromley's Get-a-Grip razor in the men's grooming aisle at Kroger. Bromley's for Men. You do you, we'll do the rest.
The Lowe's for Pros loyalty program gives pros personalized offers, purchase tracking, and more. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Terms and conditions apply, U.S. only.
Finding the next job is a big job, and that part of what you do is a little tough right now. Because of that, Lowe's for Pros is here to help. Get $400 in leads on us with a free 1-year subscription from HomeAdvisor to connect to jobs that make sense for you. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty to get started. Just one more reason why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Now let's get to work. Subscription and $400 lead credit subject to HomeAdvisor's approval and terms. Valid for new HomeAdvisor customers only. Lowe's loyalty required. More terms apply. Valid through 9/9 U.S. only.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new spicy crispy chicken sandwich. The queen of spice is delivering that spicy chicken you love with lettuce and mayo between 2 deliciously soft buns. And yes, in classic 4 for $4 fashion, you can get all that spicy goodness with spicy or crispy nuggets, fries, and a drink to cool off, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did Wendy's just deliver the hottest deal in fast food? We got you.
Offer includes 4-piece nuggets, junior fry, and value drink. Price and participation may vary.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da? I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da? Well, what did we do yesterday? Yesterday. Oh, the dolls feel like the same doll these days. I know. Like, is today Monday or Tuesday? Today is Thursday. Oh, no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday. Oh, no.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free 1-day shipping and over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
The Lowe's for Pros loyalty program gives pros personalized offers, purchase tracking, and more. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Terms and conditions apply, U.S. only.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
There's a lot of meetups,
Hey, everyone.
eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday. First day of the work week for everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed their Labor Day Monday off. I spent it on the golf course. With me and Nora have been together 8 years, so we went out for dinner last night. So looking forward to that. Off all next week. I'm going to Florida for the week. So, home of the Rona. Yep, mask it up, baby. Or fit in with the locals and don't. I mean, whatever. Are there any locals actually in Florida? Retirees? Oh, wow. Looking forward to next week. Looking forward to this week as we head into week 1 of the National Football League season. Thursday night, we'll get our first taste of the National Football League here during this COVID 2020 season. You have the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions, going up against the Houston Texans. Now, the 2 highest paid quarterbacks of all time going head-to-head, Deshaun Watson and, of course, Patrick Mahomes. How about Deshaun Watson getting paid over the weekend, as we talked about in the first hour? The Texans, that organization's a little strange. I'm not a big fan of their coach, but good for them, Kevin. Good for them for being willing to fork over the money before it even got to the negotiations phase. I mean, I didn't even know that they were at that point yet where they were ready to sit down and start talking money, but it is sometimes good, like in good faith. I do believe it's one of those situations where, okay, you've lost a lot of talent. You've lost Jadeveon Clowney. You've lost, Hopkins, who just signed a massive deal with the Cardinals already. So I think it's one of those where we're investing in you. I know it may not seem like it. We've lost some key pieces, but we want to build around you. And I think that's kind of what makes them impressive. I think that's what separates Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, is that Deshaun Watson has had more success with less talent. And you look at Dak Prescott, who continues to underachieve, although his numbers are solid, but the team underachieves with the talent that it has. I don't know if it's all on Dak Prescott, but he is going to get the brunt of the decision-making for the future. Because if the Cowboys how the Cowboys missed the playoffs last year is beyond me.
Yes, that was horrible.
Dak Prescott, I do believe the second his money went down the drain, Kev, was the game that they got shut out against the Eagles late in the season. Shut out. And you threw for 30 touchdowns. You had 4,000 plus yards on the season. He had it was his best statistical season yet. But you got shut out, and he played horrible in the big games. That's the thing, too. He just doesn't bring it against the playoff teams. That's the problem. There's just so much uncertainty with Dak Prescott. Is he the next is he the next quarterback to get a big payday, or is that one being saved up for Lamar Jackson?
Whoo! Lamar Jackson going to get paid before he does. Dak will get franchised again when this next off season.
He'll make $37 million if he gets franchised. Like, he's making $34 million this year, which he's making $4 million more than what the Cowboys offered him as far as $30 million a year moving forward. If he gets franchised again, he'll be making $37 million, $3 million a season less, or $3 million less that year than what Deshaun Watson's going to be making. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, my goodness.
Not a bad deal, right?
You want that long-term security. I get it.
I mean, it's the same route that Kirk Cousins went. He got franchised twice with the Washington football team.
Who else? There's another one. There's Kirk Cousins.
Who else got franchised like that?
There's 2, and I just saw it earlier today, and it's driving me nuts. But regardless, we've seen it happen on a few occasions. But Kirk Cousins was obviously The most recent one, as far as that is concerned. And by the way, he never extended with his team.
Right.
He ended up moving on. And I think Dak Prescott can move on. Dak Prescott, we talked about the Browns earlier. He could be hitting the free agent market here at the end of next season. And if Baker Mayfield, of course, at the end of this coming up season, if Baker Mayfield doesn't play well and Dak hits the free agent market, remember what I talked about earlier, you have the weapons to be able to be a suitor out on the free agent market. That's all I was trying to say earlier. Of course, that spurred a whole bunch. I don't think that's where that's heading, Kev. All I'm saying is
wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
He'll just keep following you.
Yeah.
I want that to happen just because of that.
So my point earlier is that the Cleveland Browns are set up for long-term success with or without Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because if the Cleveland Browns end up, winning with Baker Mayfield, then great, then they're set up. They have their whole core nucleus is in place moving forward. You have your tight end through 2023. You have your star wide receivers through 2023. You have your running game set through 2023. Your offensive line set for a few years as well. The offensive side of the ball is well taken care of. Hell, they even took care of Myles Garrett this past offseason, making him for at least 4 months the highest paid pass rusher in the National Football League before the Chiefs stepped in and paid their guy. So as far as that's concerned, that's how it's looked at there. But as I mentioned earlier, if Baker Mayfield doesn't succeed, it's not like the Browns' chances of winning go down the drain because they have enough talent that if they had to go and hit the free agent market, there could be some quarterbacks that look at that and say, okay, it's not the greatest destination city to end up in, but man, there's not going to be a lot of teams out there that have as many weapons as what the Browns could potentially provide if that is the case. Ron says, Hayfield will never see a big payday. Ron, you know what? I can't wait for when your stupid Buccaneers team only wins like 7 games this year so that you'll be quiet about all this crap because you are such a hypocrite, Ron. You're the biggest hypocrite of everyone on this Facebook page right now. You did nothing but tell me last year it doesn't matter about how much talent they have because until you see it on the field, it doesn't matter. But yet here you are hoisting the Super Bowl trophy and your team hasn't done a thing. There, FCC approved. You don't have to reach for the phone, Kev. We're good. But that's where we're at. 457-9464. Browns Bengals kick off the season coming up later on this week. Of course, the Browns have their hands full as they have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to kick off the season coming up 1 o'clock on Sunday. Kevin, let's talk about that next big payday. You talked about Lamar Jackson. Let's say they have a big year, 13-3, 12-4, whatever the Ravens season is, and they lay an egg in the first round of the playoffs again. Mm-hmm. That's where I see a holdup on a big-time contract like that being made. He'll get paid. He'll get a good contract. I still don't think Lamar gets paid in the Patrick Mahomes level unless all of a sudden he gets to an AFC championship game coming up. If you see Lamar versus Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game coming up later on in the playoffs, that's the best case scenario for Lamar Jackson as far as that's concerned. But if he lays another egg in the first round of the playoffs for the third straight season, that's kind of like we're seeing with Giannis right now in the NBA playoffs as far as basketball is concerned. Giannis was this new toy on the block. You know what I mean? It wasn't the Kevin Durant. It wasn't the LeBron James. It wasn't the Steph Curry that we've been talking about for so long. All of a sudden, there's this new shiny toy, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He wins back-to-back MVPs, but it looks like he's about to be knocked out of the playoffs again after being the favorite in the Eastern Conference. And eventually, that narrative, it washes away what you accomplish on the floor. Like it washes away your MVPs, it washes away everything because it's like, well, what good's with being a multi-time MVP if you can't win in the playoffs and ultimately, contend for championships? That's going to be the case for Lamar. Lamar can lead the league in rushing. He can be top 3 in total touchdown passes on the year. He can throw for over 4,000 yards. But Kevin, if he gets knocked out in the first round of the playoffs again, that could be a problem and something that starts to haunt him moving forward.
Yeah, that's a sticky situation for the Ravens. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them, not for the regular season, but for just winning one playoff game. And that's something that happens in sports. The pressure starts to mount. I mean, everybody was all, like you said, in love with Giannis. I mean, we can think back to LeBron James in his first run with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everybody loved LeBron James. Everybody was loving LeBron James until, hey, man, wow, how come he hasn't won anything? And just it happens out of nowhere. You can take your team to the finals and lose to the Spurs, but then that next season, like, all right, at least make it back to the finals, and you don't. And then, you keep running to the roadblock. That's the Celtics, and then everything just hits the fan. Like he just wants out of there because the pressure starts to mount, and then he's not only himself starts to look at the clock ticking, like, well, I gotta win, I gotta get up out of here, and that's the same thing happens in the NFL, where guys start to feel that pressure once the playoff time hits, because, it's all fun and games in September and October when you're running away from, the Steelers and the Bengals and everything like that. It's all fun and games. But then when you're that primetime game on a Saturday night during the playoff season, all eyes are on you and you flame out. Now, the first one, I don't necessarily consider a flame out. This last one, yes. Like, they were the favorite to go to the Super Bowl coming out of the AFC, and they didn't perform. Not only he didn't perform, the team didn't perform. Once Mark Ingram went down, the running game went kaputsville. You got receivers dropping passes. Then you got Lamar trying to force the issue, starts turning the ball over. Like, in a one-off, it's just like the NCAA tournament. You could be the big bad guy on the block. I mean, we remember when Duke lost to Lehigh and CJ McCullough. You the big dog on the block, and momentum starts to go to the other team in a playoff setting. You could see it happening. You could see these things start to happen. So, that's like the one saving grace that I have for my Steelers this year to potentially win the AFC North is maybe they're not worried about the regular season. Maybe they're focused on the postseason too much, if we can sneak in there and win the division.
All right, 457-9464. We'll get to your calls now. Who do we have on hold, Kev?
We have James on the line.
James, what's up, man? Welcome in.
Justin, it's a good day, and let me tell you why it's a good day. The Browns just signed somebody at the same position the Bengals did that is better and for cheaper. The beginning of the season, got to talk this crap. Bengals, you guys suck. Zach Taylor, you're in over your head.
It is week 1, and I love it. James.
Go Browns. Woo, woo.
Thank you for the call, James. I appreciate that. So James coming in with the heat. I like that call from James, because James nailed it on the head. This is one of the points I made earlier in the show. Come on, Justin, talk. I talked about there is no team in the NFL that has gotten more bang for their buck than the Cleveland Browns as far as the running back position is concerned. You locked up Kareem Hunt for the next 3 years for $16 million, Kev, and you're only going to be paying him $5.5 million a year. You have Nick Chubb for 2 more years on a rookie deal. He's going to be making about $1 million a year. So in essence, you are for the Bengals, who are bragging about what they got with Joe Mixon for $12.5 million, you are going to be getting 2 running backs who are equally as good, if not better, and you're going to have 2 of them on your roster for half the price. How do you get 2 running backs who are equally as good, if not better, on one roster for half the price as what the Bengals were dumb enough to pay for Joe Mixon for one full at 12.5? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Joe Mixon provides a good comfort blanket as far as that's concerned for Burrow early on, but that money could have easily been distributed elsewhere. Running backs are the easiest position to be able to replace, and I thought that the Bengals jumped the gun on paying him his money. I give the Browns credit, and I don't say that too often, but I give them credit for jumping the gun when it comes to that, because, and Kevin's phone's going, and jumping on that and saying, hey, you know what, the running back position, as far as that's concerned, they gave Kareem Hunt the money before Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb's the better back. I mean, we're talking about Nick Chubb being top 5 back in the National Football League, and Kareem Hunt ends up getting paid before Nick Chubb. I still think, before it's all said and done, that Nick Chubb ultimately does not get his money. I think that the Browns are going to use the Kareem Hunt situation as leverage and say, hey, you know what? We're at a point now where Nick Chubb, you could demand all this top dollar all you want, but we're not going to put that much money into the running back position, especially when we have Kareem Hunt, who is just as good, if not better, and we have him for half the price. I think that's kind of where we're at as far as that is concerned. Let's go back to the phones with Doug. Doug, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good. Enjoy you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, wanted to ask about the Steelers. If Ben goes down or doesn't have a good start, or who's their backup, and who do you think their quarterback for him the future is once he's gone?
The backup, unfortunately, for all us Steeler fans, is Mason Rudolph again. And apparently the Steelers are putting all their faith into Mason Rudolph because they didn't draft a quarterback last year.
Okay.
Are you a Steelers fan?
At times. Not a major fan, but I'm a fan of the NFC North, and like to see all the teams do well.
Okay, fair enough.
One other question. Last week when you were talking about whether the teams will sit out or a game, or make trying to make statements, I just wondered. There were 2 police officers killed this past week. One of them was a young black officer in St. Louis and one in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Are those teams going to do anything for those officers? Are they going to stand up or, protest their death?
I mean, obviously that's something. I mean, we're not in charge of any of those teams, so it's not like we would have that information. I feel like that question is being shaped to make a point. I don't know if that's a real question or if that's just more of you trying to make a point about something. I'm not really sure, but I've not heard anything, Doug, about anything being done as far as that is concerned. No.
Okay. Well, they were talking about last week about I understand about police officers and use of force sometimes, but it goes both ways was all I was trying to say. And so that was my point.
No, totally fine. Thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. He talked, of course, about the Steelers and the quarterback situation. Look, Big Ben, you know what you have for possibly 1-2 more years. But I don't know if the seeds have been planted yet. Like, just because they don't have something right now, it doesn't mean that the Steelers,
right.
I know what you're saying about Miles Rudolph or whatever, but at the same time, I don't know if they're looking at him as the guy moving forward. He might be the guy that they have at the moment, but they could be looking to invest into something at a later time. I thought Cam Newton made a lot of sense as far as a guy that might have had a few years left post Big Ben that they could have, you know what I mean? Like, had that big stature that was going to be able to, big physical quarterback that could take the pounding as far as that's concerned. But no, I know what you're saying too. They're not looking to bring in another veteran back just to hand it. They want that heir apparent.
Yeah, they want the heir apparent to move forward and move the team into the next, 10 to 12 years after Big Ben, because believe it or not, Steeler fans, he can't play forever either.
Well, think about this. The Steelers quarterback situation, it wasn't clean before Big Ben.
Right.
You had Cordell Stewart, you had Maddox, I know I'm missing somebody. It wasn't like they had their guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like
Neil
they always
O'Donnell.
have their guy. I mean, like, how many more quarterbacks were they going to roll through before they finally found their guy? If Big Ben doesn't come, and let's be clear, they drafted Big Ben. Every time you draft a quarterback, everyone, when the Steelers drafted Big Ben, they envision good things, but again, every team envisions great things when they draft a guy. So I'm not taking a shot at Big Ben. All I'm saying is I'm not going to sit there and say that the Steelers just knew they had gold with Big Ben, because let's be clear, every team, the Packers think they have gold with Jordan Love. Every time a team drafts a quarterback late in the draft, they think that they might have a sleeper. I'm not saying the Steelers got lucky by any means, because that's like saying the Patriots did get lucky with Tom. I mean, I don't know. When you say they get lucky, it always has a negative connotation to it. So that's not what I'm saying with the Steelers, but it's not like Big Ben was a plan. Like, it's not like that they knew that was going to work out. And let's be clear, teams that think like the Browns, they knew it would work out with Baker. There's so many question marks, it's not even funny. The Bengals right now think they found their quarterback of the future. You have no freaking clue. You've been going up against the most embarrassing defense in the history of the world, second team in practice every day for a month, and everyone's losing their minds about how all the reports are saying Joe Burrow looks great. My point is, the Steelers, they didn't know that they had Big Ben when they had Big Ben initially. And if that Big Ben never develops, Kev, how long are they still looking for quarterbacks after? Because they don't hit the free agent market like that.
Right.
Like you've tried Charlie Batch, another one. I may have said that. Charlie Batch. Charlie Batch.
Buddy Brister.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have some doozies with us, man.
My point is post Big Ben, are they just going to do this whole draft and wait approach and not go to the free agent pool?
Yes.
Then that's a good day to be a Browns and Bengals fan.
I'll answer that for you. Yes.
Okay.
That is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to draft somebody. Oh, he don't work. We're going to give next. And they're just going to keep drafting, because they will not, I repeat, not go out into the free agent market and spend big dollars on somebody that was not developed by them. That's just their way.
Ron Moreland says, wow, the Browns made a good deal, but I hope neither running backs get in trouble off the field. Ron, do me a favor. I don't know if you have a smartphone or access to a laptop or a desktop, but Ron, I need you to do me a favor. Go to that desktop or go to that laptop or get out your cell phone if you have internet access on that thing. I need you to do me a favor. Type in Joe Mixon, and I want you to tell me what comes up. Not about the extension, not about his great couple years with the Bengals. Just keep searching. And let's talk about Joe Mixon's background. Like, I'm not making excuses for any of the Browns players. And let's be clear, by the way, Nick Chubb is one of the most stand-up individuals that you'll ever meet. I mean, the guy doesn't get involved on social media. He has no need for any of that. He doesn't get in the back and forth. So, Ron, all I'm saying is if you're going to start taking shots at some of the Browns players and their questionable backgrounds, I think you need to make sure you're very knowledgeable of the players on your team. Because if I Google Joe Mixon, I think it's going to be about as questionable as Kareem Hunt. Hunt. And we can leave it at that as far as that's concerned. He goes on to say, hopefully they don't get in trouble or throw a helmet. Did you talk about that OBJ issue? No, I have not talked about that OBJ issue. I was hoping to flush that away. And what?
Goodness.
What? What do you? He goes, 12-4 sounds like 4-12. Okay. Well, okay. Well, so basically, if that's the route the Browns go, I guess we'll meet you down there. Is that if that's what you're trying to say? Ron, the Ron. It's a battle of Rons today. Ron says that Fournette is making less than $4 million a year. The Bucks have the better deal. That is a good deal, Ron. But you are delusional and fool yourself if you think that the Buccaneers have the best running backs. They have two really good running backs, but look at the total amount of money that they're spending on their backs, Ron. It passes the $10 million. That was my point. And I'm not saying who has the best backfield, Ron. The Buccaneers, they already were swimming in gold, man. And then you get Leonard Fournette on top of it. Good for the Buccaneers. That was a very good pickup for them. My point for the Browns is the fact that you have Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb for $7 million a year. While teams like the Titans are paying their running back $12.5 million a year. The Bengals were foolish enough to fork over that kind of money to Joe Mixon, and they don't even have an offensive line. And who knows when they're going to have to start paying some of their other top pieces. So my point is the Browns have the most bang for their buck as far as the running back position is concerned. I'm not saying they have the best backfield, although that might be up for debate by the end of the year. But I do believe, as far as money goes, the Browns have the best bang for their buck as far as that goes. We'll get into some more NFL talk coming up around the corner. ESPN put out their simulated 2020 season. We keep talking about the Browns and the Bengals. What will their win total be? I predicted 12-4 for the Browns. I have no problem continuing to stick with that. And I think that's, again, when you look at the plan for Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb moving forward, all eyes are on Baker Mayfield. But when the Browns have success, it's going to be in spite of that. I think it's going to be because of the run game and the tandem of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. What does that ESPN simulated 2020 NFL season look like? We'll get into that. Plus, we have more updates for you about the future of the Big Ten season, whether it's in the fall or spring. Don't get your hopes up, fall fans. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon is going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 90. Tonight's going to be clear with a low around 65. And tomorrow's going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 91. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We've got you. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got you covered. We're the only place you can find Duralast, the batteries more consumers choose. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination, where help is always in stock. Claims based on a proprietary consumer study and data from the MPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is kicking off the football season with a total of $3 million up for grabs for this Thursday's football contest. Download the DraftKings app now and use code CJR. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at the $1 million top prize and $3 million in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code CJR. Only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Today, being there for one another is more important than ever. At Kettering Health Network, our caregivers are dedicated to helping you stay safe and well. We're open and ready to care for you. From treating emergencies to regular wellness visits, count on us to deliver the exceptional care you've come to expect. Kettering Health Network. Together, supporting each other. Learn more at ketteringhealth.org.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with home daily lanes. $2,000 sign-on bonus, great pay and benefits. Contact Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation. Driven to succeed.
Not so long ago, lots of things made people happy.
I used to love going to the gym.
I miss saying good morning to my coworkers. Today, there are still things that can make people happy.
Oh, how pretty.
A beautiful bouquet of flowers will definitely make someone happy.
First Florist and Greenhouses can help you make someone happy. Go to firsttheflorist.com, choose a bouquet, and they'll deliver it safely. Make someone happy with First Florist and Greenhouses.
They can bulge, go bald, wear down, flatten, or be in dire need of replacing.
No, guys, it's not you.
We're talking about your tires. Let Fat Boys get your car rolling again, safe and sound. Fat Boys carries tires in all makes, styles, and sizes,
including Continental, Goodyear, Michelin, and more.
Check out Fat Boys' new location in North Dayton
at the corner of Needmore and I-75,
or 3050 Springboro Pike in South Dayton.
Fat Boys, your ultimate resource for wheels, tires, service, and accessories.
Look for Fat Boys at fatboysdayton.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Always get your go-to with the new $10 tastemaker from Pizza Hut. A large pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10. Choose contactless delivery or curbside pickup at pizzahut.com. Price higher in some locations. Limited time offer. Availability of contactless curbside delivery areas. Charges and minimums vary. Delivery charge not tip.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green, the iconic cleaning formula known around the globe. Try a Simple Green product today, and if you're not 100% satisfied, I'll refund your money. Visit us at simplegreen.com.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both,
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, and all at amazing prices.
From notebooks to lap desks, folders to noise-canceling headphones.
This week, Staples 2 pocket paper folders and 1 subject notebooks are an incredible 10 cents each. Now that's a back-to-school deal you don't want to miss.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/12, limit 6, in-store only, while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
The Lowe's for Pros loyalty program gives pros personalized offers, purchase tracking, and more. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/pro-loyalty. Terms and conditions apply, U.S. only.
Tune in every Friday night at 7 o'clock for the ESPN Dayton High School Football Game of the Week, presented by Kettering Health Network Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Check out wingam.com for the complete schedule and archive games. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
Just super clear, Kevin. I think people are starting to realize what we've been talking about with OBJ throughout the show.
They went and did their Googles.
Don't click on the images, folks. That might be a little crappy. Just saying. I really do. Someone brought up Jarvis Landry earlier. I really do think that the roles will be reversed. I think OBJ prefers to be the number 2 receiver.
Man, can we get into that finally? Can we talk about that?
Hold up. I need more toilet jokes. I'm trying to think. Hold on. If it's Brown, flush it down. That takes on a whole new meaning now, thanks to OBJ. What a weird thing. I'm never going to be able to, defend him again. Seriously. No wonder. He has slippery hands. You nasty. God. Ugh.
Okay, this is my 2 cents on it.
People are still but people, if you're confused, real quick, just Google OBJ's name and you'll find out what's going on. It's the strangest. It's 2020. If 2020 was a headline, it's whatever headline you find about OBJ in 2020. Just move on.
Yeah. So whatever he likes to get into in the privacy of his own bedroom, that's his business. And he can do and enjoy whatever he likes in the privacy of his own bedroom. But for these young ladies to go on a podcast and try to make fun of him, she tried to accommodate that need that OBJ wanted. So she's just as nasty as he is. And they're trying to make fun of him. Now, we all know I'm not the OBJ guy on this show, but I will defend him on that. You're trying to make fun of me, but you were trying to do it. So what does that say about you? Like I said, whatever he's got going on in the privacy of his own bedroom, that's on him. Hey, knock yourself out. Long as people are of age, it's all good.
But these are the stories where I can't even share half the stuff people are texting into the show because it's not FCC approved.
I tried to go as clean with it as possible.
See what you did? Someone said it's all new meaning to a Cleveland. Yeah, something else. Man, I tell you what. But yes. So if he has a bad game this year, am I allowed to on Monday be like, all right, folks, the Browns, they lose another one. Baker Mayfield had a good game, but due to another crappy performance from Odell Beckham Jr., the Browns lose another one. For more, we send it to Kev Nash. Kev. And as if COVID hasn't been a reason to wash your hands.
Man.
OBJ, if everyone in that Browns locker room, I'm telling you right now, no wonder he likes to play for the Browns. It's his favorite color.
Oh, good.
I'm just saying. It's this guy's.
Shots fired.
Yeah, nasty. Where were we going with this?
I don't know, man.
Me neither. How about we go to this? David Baker. What up, Dave? He says 12-4 for the Browns. I should live so long, but I'm hopeful. So there's that.
Another 12-4.
Because I predicted the 12-4. Hold on. I got to read this before I put it on the page.
Yeah, you definitely need to do that if you're talking to OBJ.
Okay. Good job, David. David Kendrick, shout out to you, considering the childish antics between Kev and I right here. He brings in some just regular sports talk, none of this other crap that we're talking about. Okay. So David says, who really knows? We did not see any preseason games. None of the premier starters have probably even really been hit yet. I don't know, but go Browns. Go Browns. Exactly. As far as that's concerned, that's the number one concern, really. I'm curious, how sloppy is week 1 going to look for all teams? Because you're going to want, there's going to be some, physical practices, yes. But a lot of times as coaches, you're probably going to be a little bit more conservative on how much contact, it's just enough to be able to kind of crack the pads and get loose that way.
Right.
But you don't want to risk injuries. Sometimes preseason, it's a necessary evil. We don't love preseason. We don't like preseason, but it is a necessary evil. We like to label the 4 preseason games. It's all about money and those things. Yes, money plays a huge role. I don't think you need 4 preseason games, but the preseason games, they are very necessary necessary when you are simulating real game time action. I don't think you could do that in practice. We've seen teams who have done the literally, inter squad scrimmages where they literally they run out onto the field like it's game day. It's the same. I mean, it's the exact same thing. The Bengals, Browns, everybody just trying to simulate as much of these situations as possible. And it's going to be interesting come Monday how that's going to work. Was it Army? No, what game was on last night?
BYU Army.
Was it BYU
Navy?
BYU Navy. Was it Navy or BYU that the coach said that they did no contact during practices? Last night was the first time that there was any physical hitting at all.
From the looks of it,
I think I know who that was.
Didn't do any hitting because BYU, granted, they don't play any big dogs on their schedule. I think they're going to be undefeated this year. I think they're going to run the table, and then you have your conundrum about what you're going to do with BYU. They're an independent school. They've somehow,
because in all fairness,
you, Wright State.
But that matters. I don't think because that happened with UCF though.
But this is a totally different situation. You have no Mountain West. You have no Big Ten. You have no MAC. You have no Pac-12. Like, you have eliminated half of college football. Like, and I mean, I know what you're gonna say.
No, I'm not in a trolling mood today. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so out of all those conferences, in raw reality, there's only one, possibly two teams that would have been in contention to go to the CFP. But still, this is a very strange year. If any year that a school that was not from the Power Five was going to make the college football playoff, this is the year. Like we talked about it with UC, we talked about Memphis, we talked about UCF. Why can't BYU be in that conversation? I mean, anything's possible in 2020, apparently.
And by the way, I don't see it for BYU. I do need to see who they play.
Nobody. There's absolutely nobody.
I don't, they're not getting in undefeated.
Because normally they would be playing at least two Pac-12 schools. That I think they actually had Notre Dame on the schedule this year. Like, they had a pretty good schedule but I mean, now it's just decimated because they're just hunting for games.
And you run the table and you're still going to look at that and just say, okay, well, you beat up on it. And look, that's consistent with what the College Football Playoff Committee has, told. I mean, that's how they've operated.
All right, here's BYU's schedule. They got that big win last night over Navy, 55-3. They got Army. They got Troy. They got University of Texas, San Diego. I didn't even know that. No, San Antonio, Houston. So there's a decent team. Texas State, Western Kentucky, and North Alabama. So, like I said,
no wonder Alabama couldn't play these teams because they were all booked up already.
So, I mean, the toughest opponent on the schedule is Houston.
And look, they're going to have, good for them. And by the way, you play who's in front of you. It's all you can do. But I agree with you that I think the best chance that this will be the year, if there ever is going to be a time where a non-Power 5 school makes the college football playoff, it will be this year. And I think that the committee might bend that way more because they could justify it. They could justify it because there is no Pac-12 and Big Ten teams playing as of right now this season. It was funny because Desmond Howard on College Game Day over the weekend, which, by the way, Lee Corso. I love Lee Corso. But he forgot. I'm not getting political here, but everyone that laughs at Biden, Lee Corso pulled multiple Bidens over the week. My favorite line from Lee Corso was, "You know what I think? Here's what I think. That's what I think." That was a Lee Corso liner over the weekend, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like that was. I feel bad. I really do feel bad because Lee Corso. I think they're going to have to find a way to implement him. Maybe at the very end, shoot it to Lee Corso. He could put on the team mascot head that just to still keep that tradition alive in the game day thing. But that was rough over the weekend.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Like, he's been struggling for the last couple of years, and actually last year, he did a real good job, and ESPN did a good job, implementing other personalities on the show. So he's not on the desk the whole time and everything like that. Is really like the intro. Halfway through, he makes another appearance, and then, the pick'em segment. It's got to be very difficult for a person of his age, dealing with whatever he's dealing with personal life. And now, hey, we're going to set up a camera at your house, and we want you to do a live show. So it's just got to be totally difficult. I mean, we see the same things happen on First Take where people are talking over each other. So you probably got one person in this ear and another person in this ear. It's got to be very difficult for the Sunshine Scooter, as he's called, Lee Corso, man. So, I hope he's able to get through this season and keep everybody entertained and everything like that, because he is a fixture in college football, man.
Yeah, and my ADD kind of got me off subject there real quick, but they were, to go back to the Power 5 conversation, they were talking about who was your sleeper team to make the college football playoff. And originally, he had selected LSU. And I'm like, well, LSU, that's a weird sleeper team. But Desmond Howard said, look, they lost so much talent, blah, blah, blah. But then they were talking about, your sleeper team, the team that you least expect to make the playoff. Cincinnati was the team that, was brought up right away. You look at all the talent on both sides of the ball, really good wide receivers. Obviously Luke Fickell being there and the job that he's doing with the Bearcats. So that was their sleeper team. And I agree. If there's ever a year where Cincinnati or UCF, that ain't going to happen. They had 10 total players, and I think like 4 of them were starters. And that's just the initial. That there was just a group of 10 players that all opted out last week for who we're just talking about UCF. So 10 total players, 4 of them were starters, but I think they're up to a total of 16. Like they've had 16 players opt out. Like that's a lot. So UCF, they have their work cut out for them as far as that's concerned. But if Cincinnati runs the table and they are undefeated, they remain undefeated, top 25, and they work their way into the top 10, do not be surprised if Cincinnati finds a way to sneak into the college football playoff as far as that's concerned. But my point is there will be more pressure on Cincinnati than any team that has ever stepped foot in the college football playoff, because we talked about this with Notre Dame a few years ago. Their schedule, they did not deserve to be in based on the schedule. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault that UCF was not as good as what they've been in years past. It wasn't their fault that a lot of the traditional powers that they played weren't, in Michigan and all that, they weren't that great that year. Fine. With that being said, though, they ended up making the playoff, went undefeated, and then they got embarrassed in the playoff game, which was the second straight time that they've gotten to a title game or a playoff and just gotten destroyed. That was a big game for them because they said, hey, if they really want to shut people up about, hey, we don't play in a conference, but if they can go in and make some noise in the playoff and win a game or get to the title game, that would have really earned a lot of respect moving forward. I say the same thing about Cincinnati. If you're going to get the nod, that would be the biggest game in the history of the world for Cincinnati in the American Conference, because if Cincinnati finds a way to win a game in the playoff, now you have to pay attention to the American Conference. But let's be clear. Remember what happened the last time Cincinnati played an elite team? When they played Ohio State last year, and that's the kind of team they'll run into. Maybe not Ohio State this year, but if they run into a Clemson, if Clemson's a 1 seed and Cincinnati's a 4 or Alabama's a 1, if you are Luke Fickell in Cincinnati, you can't get all this hype and all this and get propped up the way you are and then lay an egg the way you did against Ohio State last year. That was my big thing on the American Conference. I love the American Conference, but my big concern is, okay, you put them on the field with one of the legit premier teams. The gap between them is still so significant that I'm not convinced that they would finish top 3 in any of the Power 5 conferences as good as they are. So it would be interesting. I would love to see Cincinnati get a shot, but man, they would have so much pressure in that playoff because it wouldn't even be about winning for Cincinnati, Kev, if they could just compete. Hey, you lose by possession. You lose by field goal at the end. Oh, Alabama pulled away and scored 2 touchdowns and shut you out in the fourth quarter. That's okay. But you can't go and get beat 45-0 or whatever it was that Ohio State just poured on them at the shoe last season, which seemed like ages ago, by the way.
Definitely. I will push back on you on the Notre Dame thing in the blowouts. There's been blowouts left and right in the college football playoff by teams that we didn't expect to get blown out. We got Oregon blowing the defending champs, Florida State, out 59-20. We got Bama blowing out Michigan State 38-0. We got Clemson beating the Buckeyes 31-0. We got
31-0.
There you go. We got Bama beating Clemson 24-6. We got Clemson beating Notre Dame, like you said, 30-0. We got LSU beating Oklahoma 63-28.
And that was the first half.
Yeah, that was a boat race. So like teams get boat race. Like big name teams get boat race. Like we got boat race 31-0. Like, so I just don't think that them being boat raced in that national semifinal basically disqualifies them from going to the college football playoff just because they quote unquote don't play anybody, because there's no question that Ohio State played a lot of somebodies and beat a lot of somebodies, but we still lost 31-0. Michigan State, they beat Ohio State that year. and they beat other big time teams. They beat Michigan that year too. That didn't stop them from getting beat 38-0. So I just don't think just because quote unquote you don't play anybody, you don't deserve to be in there because you got boat race. Like those teams got boat race too. And I mean, you look at the defending champs in Florida State, the first year of the college football playoff, you know, it's 24-20 at halftime, and then Oregon just rattles off like 30 straight points. Like I just can't, like, this is just, for me, I love the college football playoff just because I love college football, but I was a big proponent of the BCS because I honestly don't think that there is more than 4 teams that are championship worthy. Like everybody talks about this expanding of the college football playoff going to 8. I'm like,
sometimes the 4 is questionable.
Yeah.
Like I think you could find 3, 2 easily, which 2, by the way, that's your national championship
Exactly.
from the BCS era. The reason the BCS, and let's be clear here, the BCS era was always so controversial because why? There was always 3 championship contenders.
Right.
And 1 always got left out.
Right.
There has not been a national championship contender left out. Now, you could say Ohio State, the back-to-back years, because they slipped up against Iowa, Purdue. Well, let's be clear. Championship teams don't slip up against Iowa and Purdue, period. I'm not trying to get into a debate. That's my point, though. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why the BCS era was so controversial, because you had 2 championship game slots, and there was always 3 teams that could have easily won a national championship.
Right.
In the college football playoff at 4, you have 3 teams who are capable of winning a national championship, and that 4th one that has a resume that can rival 5, 6, and 7,
right? Or
at least 5 and 6 at the least. So no, I agree with you on that. We don't agree often, but I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and to back up that point, in the very first one, you know, you think about Baylor and TCU. They were left out. They were both 11-1 from the Big 12. Like, of course, we all gonna say like it all worked out. They got it right because Ohio State won it all. Of course, we're going to say that because it's our team and they won. But who's to say that if Baylor would have got in there or if TCU would have got in there, they couldn't have won it all? Like, I just don't like the versions of history that we like to tell ourselves just because it's personally our team. You know, you can look at Penn State possibly, you know, the year that we got boat raced. Like, we could look at them and say maybe they deserve to be in there because they were the Big Ten champions. So that's the love and hate with college football. You know, I've always said this: college football is like politics, and as nasty as politics is, it's the same thing in college football because we want to rep our school to the fullest, and then when we're not repping our school, we start repping our conference, like the SEC. Like for some reason, like Tennessee gets the root and chant SEC when Alabama and LSU are hoisting trophies when they haven't hoisted a trophy since 1999. Like this is how college football thrives because it's always topical, because it's always recruiting season. It's always something going on. It's always jockeying for recruits. It's always jockeying for the number 1 spot. But you know what? You can only control is winning the games on Saturday. And unfortunately, no Big Ten team, no Pac-12 team, no MAC team, no Mountain West team will have that opportunity to play on Saturdays this season. And I watched the games, a couple of the games over the weekend. I got all ready for a good game on Monday night, and that BYU game was a blowout. And then, you know, one of those great things about college football is, if this game's a blowout, you can always find another one. That's not going to be the case this year. There's going to be so many games that are postponed and canceled. You see everything that happened at Tennessee, you know, 44 players held out with injury or COVID-19 or contact tracing, so they weren't able to do a scrimmage. You hear Lane Kiffin saying we can't play right now because of COVID-19. We're not ready to play. You see Oklahoma State canceling the game already because of COVID-19. Like, we better buckle up because I believe that this college football season will end in October.
All right. And real quick to close out my point about Notre Dame and stuff earlier too, by the way, it wasn't just because they got blown out as to why I believe that they won't be let back in. It's because of the outside circumstances, is that the committee said, you know what, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. We know you didn't play anybody. We know you don't play in the conference. You know, you didn't play in the conference championship game. the committee overlooked a lot of things to let Notre Dame in the last time. The committee is going to have to overlook a lot of things to let Cincinnati or a UCF team in this time, because you can justify a 2-loss SEC team getting in over an undefeated American Conference team because, hey, even if they play a number 18 UCF and Cincinnati's undefeated and win the American Conference championship game, you're looking at a 2-loss LSU defending national championship or champion that they're not going to get in because they have 2 losses, but you could justify putting them in over Cincinnati because, well, if LSU played the American Conference schedule, they would be undefeated too. People hate that. Yeah. They hate that logic, but folks, sometimes that's just, it's the common sense thing there. So when I brought up Notre Dame, it was Notre Dame faced pressure of when the committee gave them the benefit of the doubt that year and they let them in the playoff, despite not playing a tough schedule and not really beating anyone of significance, despite the fact that they didn't play in a conference championship game, because many people believe in that year Ohio State played in their Big Ten championship game and everyone felt that, hey, that was another top 25 win that they capped off. Yes, they had a bad loss, but they should be in. I see why Buckeye fans were so mad, but they gave the benefit of the doubt, went to Notre Dame, and then they go and get boat raced. That's why I believe that, you can get, Ohio State has history. You can get blown out. That's fine. Oklahoma, my point is that, like, it's not changing the perception of your program with the committee. Notre Dame, I promise you, if they run the table again in the future, maybe not this year in the ACC, but as an independent, if they don't play anyone of significance that year and they don't play in a conference champion, the committee's going to remember the last time they took a chance on them. And I'm going to say the same thing about Cincinnati. Cincinnati makes the playoff and they get a huge win. The committees now in the future, they are going to be forced to. They can't just say, oh, well, these guys, they don't play anybody or this and that. Well, you let them in when they didn't play anybody last year and look what they did. So that's why I'm like, there's a lot of pressure on the American Conference if they're fortunate enough to have someone be a representative. All right, real quick. We were talking Browns earlier. David Baker. What up, Bake? He goes, I'd like the Browns to be my pallbearers. That way they can let him down one more time. There you go.
I thought it was going somewhere else, but okay.
Like the Bobby Knight one, when they bury me face down so all my critics can kiss my ass. That's still one of the all-time greats as far as that one. Ron says, why aren't you talking about OBJ? Ron, what do you do? When our show is on, what do you do? We've talked about it multiple times. Get your head out of your ass, man. See? No, it's a stretch. I try. I'm running out of OBJ jokes.
Good.
That one was crap. So we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping and over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
It's the summer clearance event at Key Chrysler. I'm Chris Toby. At Key, our primary focus is your safety and ours. We are practicing safe social distancing. Probably like you, we hate it, but we are wearing our masks and we are diligently cleaning the dealership. If you're more comfortable handling your sales and service needs from home, we can help you. Visit TobyAuto.com where you can complete all the aspects of a vehicle purchase, including financing and trade appraisals, schedule service, or simply get a question answered. Most importantly, stay safe out there. We will get through this together.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like That might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets, $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McHoyle Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
Montgomery County Veterans. The Montgomery County Veterans Services Commission is here to serve you. You served your country, and now it's time we serve you. You're entitled to various VA benefits as a direct result of your service, to include compensation, pension, burial, and education. Call 937-225-4801 or online at mcvsc.org. The time is now. Come to the old St. Elizabeth Hospital next to the Kindred Hospital, and we'll be there to serve you. That number again is 937-225-4801.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Did you know Browns Nursery's annual stock reduction auction is on Saturday, September 12th? You can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars on high-quality nursery stock, trees, and shrubs. The auction starts at 7:19 a.m. and we'll have 4 auction rings running all day long, and you can jump in on the bidding anytime. Browns Nursery, located half-mile north of Phillipsburg on State Route 49, 4 miles north of I-70. Take exit 24. Masks and social distancing are required. Go to brownsnursery.com for more details.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
My name is Cade Courtley, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Spotify. Can You Survive This Podcast?
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vic ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping and over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
To make sure the air of your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering $1,350 in rebates plus payments as low as $132 a month on a new Lennox system. Call 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can get a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $26.99. An incredible oil for an unbeatable price from the best car people around. Making this deal the best of the best of the best of the best of the best deals around. That's Mobil 1, only $26.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/20.
Redbox has new movies and huge blockbusters, including a totally excellent comedy. Stream the theatrical home release of Bill and Ted, Face the Music, starring Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. Our old friends Bill and Ted, who are now middle-aged dads, must time travel into the future using their trusted telephone booth, retrieve a song from their future selves, and save all of humanity. Easy, right? Get premium access and stream Bill and Ted Face the Music on your smart TV or favorite device with the Redbox app today. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. Our Roosters family would like to thank all of our loyal Roosters guests who have supported us during these challenging times. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to keep our team members employed. We are striving to do everything we can to keep you and our team safe. Find a location near you at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
The Lowe's for Pros loyalty program gives pros personalized offers, purchase tracking, and more. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/pro-loyalty. Terms and conditions apply, U.S. only.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Happy Tuesday. Again, hope everyone enjoyed their Monday off for Labor Day, and we're back at it. Big week this week. Again, it's official. Well, let me ask you this, Kev. Does it feel like week one of the NFL season?
No.
Someone was talking about this the other day, that this is a problem for the NFL, that it's a problem for the National Football League, that there's not a lot of buzz heading into the season. And the big question is, why isn't there a lot of buzz heading into the season? This is one of the most exciting I don't even want to know. Should I even ask?
I'll tell you off the air.
Was it a good or a bad thing?
Depends on your viewpoints.
Who was it? An automated call?
Yes, it was an automated call.
From who we voting for? Who we voting for?
It was an automated call from
you
the
should have let him on.
Of the United States.
Call back. Next time, let him on the air. We're gonna have a little conversation. I'm curious what that call was. It a robotic call?
Yes.
Oh, that ain't fun.
Yeah, but it was the actual voice of the President of the United States.
Now that definitely needed to be on. The Donald. We could have had the Donald on the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash.
See,
that would have been huge.
I'm not going there, man.
I mean, it's not every day you get to talk to the Donald. So there's that. All right, where were we going with this? Is it a problem that the NFL at this point, Kev, the season kicks off this week, and there's not a lot of buzz around the season, which is kind of interesting to me because there's so much buzz around the NFL right now. There are so many interesting storylines. The NFL kind of had a little reshuffle this past offseason. Tom Brady, like the Patriots aren't the Patriots anymore. I mean, they are, but they aren't. Tom Brady, has kind of, just brought some fresh air, of course, with the Buccaneers and everybody. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of interesting storylines. Joe Burrow to the Bengals. How's Baker going to do with the Browns in year 2 with Stefanski? And, they get Hooper and they big investment there. Big Ben. Can the Steelers come back? There's, Cam Newton with the Patriots now. And the Patriots have released every piece of talent that they have left, but they bring in Cam Newton. And then if the Patriots fail, is it the Patriots because they have no talent, or is it Cam Newton? Are we going to hold Cam Newton to the same, standard of Tom Brady? Well, Tom Brady got to the playoffs with no talent last year. Cam Newton, how come you can't get to the playoffs with no talent? There is so much intrigue about this season coming up, but I feel like I can't remember the last time that we were entering week 1 of the NFL season and it felt this stale. And I don't get it. Now, I don't find it stale. I'm excited and pumped up, but I feel like people are just not as into it, and I don't know why. People are supposed to be at home, watching Sports Center, there's all the hype. Is it because there's no preseason, Kev?
It is because there's no preseason. The hype just isn't there.
Like, we get hype, we stay hype.
The lack of preseason. I've been talking to my cousin who I'm normally in a fantasy football league with, and he's not even doing his league. Our buddy DJ Killer Kev, normally him and I like create a league and get people in. He was like, never mind, man. I just ain't even hyped for it. The buzz for the NFL season as a whole isn't there. I think it is because we haven't seen anything. The only thing we've seen was, if you're watching ESPN, you see camp reports. Like, you haven't been able to see any preseason action. If there was preseason action, I think that builds the hype. And then we see everything that's going on in the college game with the constant pushbacks, and not only pushbacks, but canceling of seasons in the Big Ten and the Pac-12. I think people are on edge. I think people are taking let me see if it really happens or not type of approach to the NFL season.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I felt like there would be more buzz for the season coming up, mainly because, with everything that's going on in 2020, this is finally something that you can really jump on. I thought baseball had the most hype of all the sports that came back. And I feel like baseball's kind of hit a little bit of a wall right now. Very interesting, though. But I think that because there's so much negativity surrounding the college football season, that it's really deflated the NFL. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if we were talking about Buckeye, we should be doing the show today, recapping week 1 of the college football season with Ohio State. And we're not doing that, which, by the way, depends on what schedule you go to. Because technically, last Thursday was supposed to be the Buckeyes' first game of the season on the road at Illinois, and what was the reshuffled Big Ten only schedule, if you recall. Right. And then, of course, it was like 4 days later when Kevin Warren decided that, gotcha, you got to be quicker than that. Kevin Warren pulled the okie doke on everybody as far as that's concerned. So nonetheless, it is week 1 of the National Football League, and that's all that matters. Again, we're going to have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Thursday night going up against, Deshaun Watson and the Texans, the 2 highest paid quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League, going head to head. So we are looking forward to that. And then, of course, the Browns will be in action this weekend, Sunday, 1:00. Against the Ravens. The Bengals will be in action. You get to see Joe Burrow for the first time. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting how all of that pans out. I'm excited, finally.
I'm rubbing my hands together, man, because,
Browns beat the Ravens.
Oh.
We're giving our picks later this week, but I'm leaning that way.
I'll be ready.
I'm leaning that way.
Oh, but I'm just here for some football, Granted, I'm a college lover more than an NFL lover, but I'll take anything right about now. I'll take any type of football, man. I need it.
I thought that too until BYU and Navy. Okay, so here's the deal. So ESPN, let's hit that NFL music.
Oh yeah.
ESPN they simulated the entire 2020 NFL season. Now, they do have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs repeating as Super Bowl champions. That's a given. I think that shouldn't surprise most. But now that you know the ending of the movie, let's fill in everything else in between. So, Kevin, they did the full AFC projected standings and the full NFC projected standings. We'll start with the NFC. For those of you who are watching, we are live on Facebook and on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Follow and like. Again, listen, stream, watch. You can listen on 1410 Wing AM. Stream us at wingam.com and watch us live weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We've also shared it on the ESPN Dayton Facebook page as well. You can also watch all previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show on the website at wingam.com. Click on Watch ESPN Dayton, and you'll have access to my show, The Keith Byers Show, and, of course, 1410 Wing Live. Let's take a look, for those watching live on Facebook, the NFC final standings. This according, of course, to the ESPN fully simulated 2020 National Football League season. The NFC standings, Kevin, according to this ESPN simulated season, will start in the NFC North. The Vikings finishing 10-6 on the season. The Lions at 7-8-1. I love a simulated season that they project a tie, by the way. That's called paying attention to detail. The Bears 7-9 and the Packers 7-9. Wow. I'm very confused as to why the Packers are taking that much of a step back. They bring back that entire defense from last year. Right. The running game is another year older, of course, not, and that's a good thing. More seasoned, vet. And then you have Adams and those guys. I don't get why the Packers are taking a step back. A playoff team a year ago, they don't even have them in the playoffs in 2020.
They're saying A-Rod gonna fall fall off the map. That's what they're saying. I don't agree, but that's what they're saying.
Packers at 7-9, the Bears at 7-9, the Lions 7-8-1, and then the Vikings going 10-6. And I remember when the NFC North was one of the most dominant divisions in football. It's not looking that way now when you had Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and the Bears and that defense and the Vikings, of course. Hopefully they get that stuff situated with Dalvin Cook and company. I think that Dalvin Cook, everything I heard, throughout the day, Dalvin Cook, that deal should be done shortly. When you're seeing other deals around the NFL getting done, you saw the Bengals and Joe Mixon get done recently. You just saw the Cardinals get their big deal done with Hopkins earlier today. The Browns get a deal with their not second team running back, but their secondary running back, of course, in Kareem Hunt. There's deals being done all over the place. Look for Dalvin Cook and the Vikings to get a deal done here in the near future. Let's transition down, I should say, to the NFC South. The NFC South, of course, is the most interesting division in football outside of the AFC North to me, because that's where you have Tom Brady and company. By the way, week 1 already, one of the biggest matchups of the season, you already have the Saints and the Buccaneers going head-to-head. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, however long Tom Brady plays in this division, however long Drew Brees plays in this division, how cool is that to get to circle that matchup twice a year? We already get to see it in week 1, Drew Brees against Tom Brady. But you look at that, the NFC standings, they have the Saints going 10-6 and the Buccaneers going 10-6. That's crap. That's a cop-out. That's lazy. ESPN, that's lazy. Now, they have the Saints winning the division, technically, but the Buccaneers and Saints both going 10-6.
As T.O. would say, get your popcorn ready, because you're about to see two future Hall of Famers battle it out in the division. A lot of people always said things about the Patriots and Tom Brady. Well, they're in the AFC East. Has no competition ever in that division. Well, he got competition now. He got big time competition.
Absolutely. Now the Falcons coming in at 9-7. Now the Falcons interest me because there's a lot on the line there. Again, that's an organization that's had a solid core for a while. How long they keep them together, you don't know. Now they just kind of reboosted that a little bit. Now you have Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in football. Then you have, of course, Matt Ryan, former NFL MVP quarterback, who still has a lot in the tank. And let's put it this way: 9-7 is not a bad season. In fact, I think 9-7 is really, really good, considering you do have the Saints and the Buccaneers. They go out and get they get Todd Gurley, in the offseason. That's one of the better trios in the NFL this season. You have Matt Ryan, former NFL MVP quarterback. You have Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in football, and one of the top running backs in football when healthy, in Todd Gurley. If those three pan out, look out. But then again, it's not like the Falcons have not had a strong run game in the past. Todd Gurley's a sexier name,
right?
But I don't know how much better the Falcons are. The expectations are higher because you added Todd Gurley. But let's be clear, the run game for the Falcons has not been the problem the last couple of years. So I don't know if Gurley, how much better he makes them. Sure, he makes them better, but I don't know if he takes them to that next level. That's my biggest concern as far as that goes.
I think if it's a breakout season for Calvin Ridley playing beside Julio, if he has a breakout year, they have a chance to make it back to the playoffs. He has to have a breakout year.
Schrody chiming in saying, wait, Kenner just said 9-7 is a good season? I thought it was always Super Bowl or bust. Get him! Well, Schrody, if you were listening a little closer, I said 9-7 is a very good record considering you play in a division with the Saints and Buccaneers, and the Saints and Buccaneers ESPN simulated season has them both going 10-6, and there's the Falcons at 9-7. I think that's a very good record considering that Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Todd Gurley has to play Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette and company twice, and obviously having to play Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara and those guys multiple occasions. That's a great season. If you're the Falcons and you're 9-7, that's a fantastic season as far as I'm concerned. Let's go on to the NFC West, Kevin. They have, again, the 49ers in the Super Bowl a season ago, haven't winning the division. 11-5, the 49ers. And the Rams at 11-5. Wow. This is interesting. So the NFC West already a very surprising model here because they have the Niners winning the division at 11-5. The Rams also making the playoffs at 11-5. Keep in mind, they've moved on from Cooks. They don't have Todd Gurley anymore. But apparently a lot of expectations for the Rams heading into this season. But they have the Seahawks at 9-7. And in year 2 for Kyler Murray, and of course providing him with Hopkins, at 8-8. Every team in that NFC West finishing above or at or above 500.
That's scary, man, because I know we're going to do our Super Bowl picks later in the week, but I have very high expectations for the Seahawks this year. Huge expectations if you dig my drift.
They're one of the most. I'm not sold on Russell Wilson. Okay, I'm going to anger a lot of people with that. I think he's a very good quarterback, but I think he gets way too much credit for the Super Bowl appearances early on as a rookie when that defense and the other offensive weapons around him. Again, he hasn't led that team anywhere. They win a lot of games in the regular season, but and by the way, I should say this to be fair. That roster
you just did it, Schrodey.
2 years ago. And by the way, what? I just did what?
It's not good enough.
No,
it was good enough.
Schrodey goes, oh, here we go with the backtracking, Kev.
He just did it within a matter of minutes.
I can't help it, but I'm not sold on Russell Wilson. I'm just not he's a really good quarterback. I would take him over Baker Mayfield right now. I tell you that much. But again, with how Baker played last year, that's not really saying much as far as that's concerned. And by the way, I don't think I'm that crazy right now, especially when you take a look at what we're just looking at now with the NFC standings. Again, ESPN simulated the entire 2020 season. The Seahawks go 9-7. I mean, they have the Rams. All of a sudden, the Rams just get it together. Jared Goff and the Rams after no Todd Gurley. They don't have Cooks, one of their top receivers anymore. What in the world? I just lost my breath right there trying to talk. I don't know. That interests me, though. This was one of the bigger surprises out of the NFC as far as that's concerned.
I'm trying to think of the weapons the Rams have. They have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Cam Akers, and that's all I can think of on their offense. Obviously, the defense is legit. Is the defense going to carry them to 11 wins?
The defense is legit, and they put a lot of money in there. I mean, you have Ramsey, you have Donald, you have a lot of money invested into that, but it's just one of those things where, what about the offense? Because, like I said, Sean McVay was probably the most overrated effect of the National Football League. That's how the Bengals got their 5-year-old coach to take over with no head coaching. And Zach Taylor wasn't even a coordinator. How do you put a guy like Zach Taylor in charge of being a head coach in the National? Now, granted, it is the Bengals, so if there is a team that's dumb enough to do that, it is them. But again, the McVay effect to Bengals fans is Zach Taylor's a result of that. But if you look at last year's McVay effect, I don't think Zach Taylor and company is getting jobs after the way the Rams looked last year. So we should see. How come there wasn't a Niners effect?
Fair enough.
How can but again, I know how good that offense was that year that they made it to the Super Bowl, but it was very ironic that offense disappeared. Gurley was injured, so that does say a lot about that. All right, stay in the NFC. As far as this is concerned, let's take a trip up to the NFC East. The NFC East, ESPN, this simulated 2020 NFL season has the Eagles finishing 10-6 and making the playoffs, winning that division. Again, I'm assuming that they are assuming, which they have nothing to base this assumption off of. They are assuming that all of a sudden Carson Wentz is going to stay healthy, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There is nothing in the history of football that proves Carson Wentz can stay healthy. Eventually, he's going to have to sneeze and he'll blow his back out, I'm sure. I have no confidence in the Eagles and Carson Wentz whatsoever. 10-6 for the Eagles is laughable. They do have the Cowboys making the playoffs as well, coming in at 9-7. The Giants, second year again. You have Daniel Jones, you have Saquon Barkley. How big a jump will Daniel Jones take in his second year in the league? Keep in mind, Daniel Jones went 6th overall in the first year of last year's NFL draft. Everyone thought that was supposed to be Dwayne Haskins' spot. Dwayne Haskins drops all the way to number 15 to the Washington football team. Everyone was angry that the Giants passed up on Dwayne Haskins. They end up taking Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones didn't look terrible. Eli Manning completely out of the picture now. He retired after a very successful NFL career with the Giants, multiple Super Bowls. It's fully Daniel Jones' team now. Saquon Barkley, can he stay healthy? How good can this Giants team be in year 2? The NFC, of course, according to ESPN simulated standings, 7-9. We'll see.
For Philly, they're banking on 2 wins versus Washington. They're banking on 2 wins versus the Giants. I agree with you 100%. Wentz, he can't stay healthy. He's always hurt. He's always going to miss 3 to 5 games a season. I don't think you can win 11 games with your starting quarterback being injured basically half the season.
That's the concern, too. And they also have the Washington football team in the midst of them looking for a non-racist name. They are, of course, trying to win football games. And Dwayne Haskins, unfortunately, is the guy leading that team. I do feel, Terry McLaurin, he had a very good connection with him.
Yes, sir.
They did move on from Adrian Peterson, and say what you want. People were ripping Adrian Peterson earlier. Dude, yes, he's like in his upper 30s, but the guy was still rushing for 1,000 yards. Now, I know I've said in the past, all you got to do is rush for 60 yards a game in a 16-game season. But Adrian Peterson, what impressed me most about him wasn't the total yards that he was putting up at his age. It was the fact that he was durable. He only missed one game last year. He played in every game the year before that. I was surprised that the Washington football team moved on from Adrian Peterson. So they do lose a veteran presence as far as that's concerned. We'll see. Rivera's a very good football coach.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see what Chase Young provides for them on the defensive side. That's going to be key. But a lot of, the Buckeye connection, you have Chase Young, of course, Dwayne Haskins, and you have Terry McLaurin. The Washington football team, they'll be fun to watch from a Buckeye perspective, but only winning 4 games. I just hope this doesn't stunt the growth of Dwayne Haskins. I don't know what his future holds in the NFL. He's in mad shape right now. Like, I don't know if you've seen the difference from he had like baby weight almost, it looked like last year. He still looked really young this year. He's chiseled. He's in the best shape of his life, he said. We'll see what that is able to do as far as providing him that jump to take his game to that next level. So
that's everything we've been talking about with the lack of preseason. There's so many question marks because we haven't seen anything. Normally we would have seen at least a series or half from the new Dwayne Haskins, so we could say like, oh yeah, he's got it. He's turned the corner. He's looking good. Or, oh man, he's the same guy throwing in the double coverage because he thinks he can squeeze a ball in there and everything like that. Him being in great shape don't mean anything if he's making bad decisions. We have nothing. Absolutely nothing to go on besides articles and the talking heads on ESPN. So it's a mystery.
Yeah, and here's why I don't trust the talking heads at ESPN or anybody. It's not really the talking heads, it's the team reporters. Because keep in mind, we're like the bottom of the barrel talking heads. Okay, we're just here in Dayton, Ohio. Okay, So, but with that being said, the information we're being fed is the same information that the fans on Twitter are being fed.
Right.
And that is the local writers for the teams. The problem I have is that writers are different nowadays. Writers, at some point along the line, decided that it was okay to be fans of the team that you cover as opposed to covering your team objectively.
Right.
And a lot of writers and reporters fear that if you write anything questionable or bad about that team, that they will pull your credential. So now it just turns into, a pool of beat writers who just try to kiss the owner's ass as much as possible. And the good ones like to kind of, really call out what's actually there.
To be fair with the Washington football team, isn't the cool thing to do now is to bash everything Washington? Isn't that the cool thing to do right now? That
might be the case. They might change it. I'm talking about here locally, especially in Cincinnati. Okay. Oh, yeah. The writers that cover Cincinnati, it's unbelievable. You would think that they're about to win the Super Bowl. Like, I couldn't find one writer for Cincinnati. Everything is the grass. Who cares about the grass on the other side? It doesn't get any greener than right now. Not AJ Green, of course, because we don't know what the hell he looks like, because he, of course, hasn't stepped foot on the field in forever.
It's the mystery of no preseason football.
Okay, but so the writers, you should see the Bengals writers who regurgitate this stuff out there. Oh, man, I tell you what, Joe Burrow looks so good. Oh, he's playing against the first team offense goes up against the second team defense, and the second team offense goes up against the first team defense.
Right.
So when they talk, and let's keep in mind just how bad the Bengals first team defense is, historically bad. The only reason that they were in position to get Joe Burrow is because of how embarrassingly bad that this defense is. Now you're probably saying, but Justin, they spent $160 million in the offseason. They're much improved. I've never seen a team who won 2 games a year ago spend $160 million to improve a defense and still only be projected to win 2 more games than they did the year before. So that's either money not well spent or, I can't cuss on the air as much as I would like to because it just amazes me, the mindset. The bottom line is Joe Burrow, he's slicing up the defense. He looks good. He's about as good as any rookie I've seen. If the first team defense is an embarrassing nightmare for the Bengals in years past, what do you think the second team defense is like for the Bengals? So I'm going to leave it at there as far as that's concerned. Now, I just talked all that mad smack about the Bengals, and I'm about to eat my words because when you got to look at the AFC projected standings, okay? The AFC projected. Yeah. Now, one more time, I'm going to pull up again. We're live on Facebook and the ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. You can watch us live every day from 3 to 6. ESPN simulated the entire 2020 National Football League season. They have the Vikings winning the NFC North at 10-6. In the NFC South, of course, the Saints and the Buccaneers both going 10-6, both making the playoffs. There you go. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, the Falcons, who go 9-7, who that's a good record to me, especially in that division. They missed the playoffs. The Falcons will miss the playoffs at 9-7, according to ESPN's simulated 2020 season. The Eagles and Cowboys both make the playoffs out of the NFC East, according to ESPN's simulated season. And the Niners, if I had to pick two teams from the NFC West to make the playoffs, I would put all my money on the Niners and Seahawks. I'm with you, okay? But according to the ESPN simulated 2020 season, the Niners and the Rams both go 11-5. Niners have a good shot, of course, to get back to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. By the way, looking at the NFC, it's going to get tougher. But that defense, I mean, can you imagine that Niners Buccaneers NFC title game or that Niners Saints NFC title game? That's money.
Football is back.
That's going to be money as far as that's concerned. All right, folks, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, jump on. Let's take a look at the AFC North projected standings, Kevin. Let's start with, of course, the AFC North. The AFC North, the two teams making the playoffs out of the AFC North, according to the ESPN simulated 2020 season. The Ravens, of course, will go 12-4. The other team that goes 12-4, remember I projected the Browns to go 12-4. The other team that is projected to go 12-4 and make the playoffs, the Steelers.
Yeah!
And the Bengals team, and see, this is crap. They put the Bengals in third place in the AFC North. They have the same damn record as the Browns at 7-9.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. They're all about Joe Burrow. Oh, the food bank. And, he's so cute and he's adorable. And he's Stop. They're not winning 7 games.
You dropped the lead. The lead is they only think the Browns are going 7-9.
Thank you. That's also crap. And by the way, Chris, Harold says who day. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why do you think they have the Bengals going 7-9?
For one, and to be fair, I like to poke fun at the Bengals. Now, this is the same reason I gave them a lot more credit at the beginning. I think that there should be a lot more pressure on the Bengals to do better in 2020 than they did a year ago. I've kind of accepted the fact that everyone around me has said that it accepted the fact that the Bengals will probably win anywhere between 4 to 6 games in 2020. You remember months ago, I was on record as saying that the Bengals should be good enough to at least go 8-8 and flirt with the 9th win. I said that, and I'm a Browns fan, and I hate the Bengals. But here's the deal. If I was a Bengals fan, and I'm looking at this realistically, the Bengals spent $160 million this past offseason. They didn't touch that offensive line. How do you spend that much money and not touch that offensive line? The only way you spend that much money and not touch that offensive line is because you are so convinced that they are going to be good, that offensive line is going to be improved. Because you don't ignore the number one flaw for this Bengals team the last couple of years outside of the defense has been the offensive line. So when you finally decide to spend money, you just totally ignore the offensive line. That doesn't make sense to me. So to me, the reason I have a little bit more expectations for the Bengals than most is because that to me screams that they trust their offensive line. Secondly, Joe Burrow's really, really good. And I hate that the Bengals have him. I'll just admit it. I hate it. I hate that the one year that the Bengals decide to live up to who they are, and that's be crap, they get rewarded with it by getting a Joe Burrow. That's the second thing that irritates me. Joe Burrow's really, really good. But so are the weapons for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon, as much as I was banging on him earlier, I love Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's really, really good. A.J. Green, he drives me nuts. He's as soft as tissue. When healthy and on the field, one of the top receivers in football, no questions asked. My thing is if A.J. Green was able to put up those Hall of Fame numbers with Andy Dalton at quarterback, what can a healthy A.J. Green do with a gunslinger quarterback like a Joe Burrow? That's the other reason. Tyler Boyd, really, really good as well. There's too much, and I love the draft. I love the addition of T. Higgins through the draft. The Bengals, there's too many weapons on that offensive side of the ball. There's no reason why this team should not be better than what the fans are even trying to convince me that they're going to be. This is a good football team on the offensive side of the ball. How good are they on the defensive side? That's still up for debate. They have been historically and embarrassingly bad the last couple of years. I'm not a big fan of the moves they made on defense, but they at least made some moves in the offseason. We'll see if it's enough. You spend $160 million, If that only improves your team by 2 games or 2 wins, that's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. It's not as embarrassing as the Browns, who actually went out and got elite talent last year and lost and missed the playoffs with them. I'm acknowledging that, trying to get to the punchline before the Bengals fans do with me, but I at least can acknowledge it. So, Kevin, ESPN's not that far off. I told you months ago, and was it you or whoever laughed at me? No way. I said they could win 7 to 9 games easily, and they're 7 to 9 according to ESPN Simulator right here. I disagree with the Browns 7 to 9, but then again, I was trying to wave that flag a year ago at this time, and look how it ended up. And by the way, a year ago yesterday or 2 days ago, no, it was a year ago yesterday. I'm checking the memories on my phone on Facebook, and it's lit up with the go Browns, go Browns. I bet you didn't see that coming, and I'm sure Schrody, who's a Titans fan, was just loving it. Man, I'm so glad the season's so. I think the Bengals are better than people are giving them credit for. As much as I bash them, I still think they're better than that. I don't want to hear that, they're only going to win 3 to 4 games. If they do, they underachieved. Bottom line.
So the Browns, they also have the Browns going 7 and 9, where you have them going
12 and 4.
12 and 4. Where's the disconnect?
If here's the deal. The Browns concern me because if you can't win with that, and that offensive line is legit. And you have 2 of the best running backs in the National Football League. You have one of the top tight ends in the National Football League. When OBJ is healthy and not doing his weird thing, he's one of the top receivers in football. Jarvis Landry, in my opinion, Kev, correct me if I'm wrong, who's the best number 2 wide receiver in football? I would argue Jarvis Landry. He was a top 10 receiver last year in yardage, and they had one of the worst offenses in the National Football League. They were literally I think 3 or 4 from the bottom as far as total yardage and points and everything else. And he was a top 10 receiver last year. So to me, I think he's the best number 2 receiver in the National Football League. OBJ, top 10 as far as number 1. I'm dropping him back because I just need to see it. It's been a couple years since he's... Shut up, Kevin. It's been a few. So my thinking is if you can't win with all that, you can't win at all. You can't win it all. Tom Brady left New England because they didn't provide him with weapons. Aaron Rodgers is ready to just do anything he can to get out of Green Bay because they won't provide him weapons. You provide your quarterback with weapons, you're expected to win. Drew Brees wins with weapons. All right? Tom Brady's going to be expected to win with weapons in Tampa. Baker, if you want to prove that you were a legit number 1 overall pick, win with talent. He was legit his rookie year, Kev. He was legit. All right, he threw 29 touchdowns as a rookie. All right, that's legit. Last year, maybe that was legit too. I don't know. I have the Browns going 12 and 4. The defense concerns me. Maybe that's where some of this is being put on as far as that's concerned. I think there are a lot of doubts about Baker Mayfield, like who he is. Is he more of rookie year or second year? I think the doubters out there believe he's more of what we saw last year. I think Stefanski's going to be the reason why that doesn't happen, though. I think that a lot is on the plate of Stefanski, and I think if he gets the job done in Cleveland with Baker, we talked about the contracts for Cleveland earlier. Every one of their top pieces offensively is laid in through 2023.
Right.
They're set up for the long haul to win, or they're set up for the long haul to have some great trade pieces, put it that way.
Real quick on the Steelers. They have them going 12 and 4?
They have them going 12 and 4.
Not a chance.
And that's real
not
quick.
A chance.
Someone said, Chris says, calm down, Kev. No way they go 12 and 4.
Yeah, not a chance.
Chris, he's good. Yeah.
Not a chance. Not a chance. The maximum win for the Steelers this upcoming season is 10 games. They can win 10. That's the max. I just don't see it. I mean, I see the Ravens obviously winning the division, and potentially the Steelers can get to 10 wins. And if they get to 10 wins, they can get the wild card spot. There's no way they win 12 games. I want them to win 12 games. I'm all for it, but I just don't see it.
ESPN, again, for those just tuning in, simulated the entire 2020 season. We took a look at the NFC standings. Now we're taking a look at the AFC standings. And, of course, we started in the North. The Ravens, 12 and 4. No surprise there. You have your reigning MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. No one's doubting the Ravens and what they could do during the regular season. Their narrative is going to be what they do come playoff time. The Steelers at 12 and 4 is a surprise. But the Bengals going 7 and I don't know what's more surprising. The Browns going 7. It's actually no one's going to find that outside of Browns country. Surprising that they go 7 and 9. Bengals 7 and 9. That's a good year. There's a lot of buzz and excitement for Joe Burrow as far as that goes. Tyler Schrody again, going back to the Titans fan. He says only chance that the Browns go 12 and 4 is that 12 teams have to forfeit because of COVID. Okay. Schrody, I'll tell you what, Baker is going to have a better year than Ryan Tannehill.
Uh-oh.
He's going to have more yards, better completion percentage, way more interceptions probably, but he will have more touchdowns as well. More touchdowns, yards, completions. There you go. Baker Mayfield will have a better year than your Titans, Ryan Tannehill. So there you go, as far as that's concerned. So, Kev, I know you won't take that bet. All right, let's close it out. Let's continue to look around the AFC. Let's go over to the AFC East, another interesting division, although it's kind of bad, actually. The Dolphins, they have them finishing 4-12. We'll start at the top. The Bills, 11-5. They have the Bills winning that division and in the playoffs. And they have the Bills as the only team in the AFC East making the playoffs. They have the Patriots going 5-11, not making the playoffs. And I don't know why that's surprising to people. That's not a good team. Sonny Michel last year, very good running back, didn't even rush for 1,000 yards. You bring in Cam Newton. I'm not sure why you brought in Cam Newton, because it totally looks like to me that they are positioning the Patriots to improve their draft positioning to potentially land a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence, assuming that Justin Fields isn't playing football around the draft, when the Big Ten finally kicks off their season. You know what I mean? Like, interesting, though, they have the Jets at 5-11. The Jets in Sam Darnold are more of a disappointment than the Browns and Baker Mayfield, because Sam Darnold was the guy coming out of that draft.
Have they surrounded him as much talent as the Browns?
That's why they are more embarrassing than the Browns.
Oh,
the Browns have at least tried.
I got you. I got you.
Like,
I got you.
The Jets, to be fair, went out and got Le'Veon Bell. Okay, I get that. I'll give them credit, but that's a bad organization. Like, the Browns are bad, but you know what? At least they're going down swinging. The Jets, what are they doing? They're blindfolded, swinging at a piñata that's not even there. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, the Jets 5-11, the Patriots 5-11, the Dolphins 4-12, and I was wrong. And by the way, the Dolphins are the stupidest organization in the world. How do you not start Tua Tagovailoa?
I told you that's what they were going to do, man. Like, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I just knew that's what they were going to do. I just knew it. I didn't know, because, I mean, that's what they do. That's what the Dolphins do. That's what the Browns do when they had Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. Of course they were going to start Tyrod Taylor. And, of course, the Dolphins were going to start Fitzmagic over their number one pick, Tua. Because that's what they do. That's what these type of organizations do.
But those days are over, because here's the deal. Everyone does this, though, and the narrative is crap. And I agree with you. That's what people want to do, but no one's patient enough to see it through anymore. Hope it hurt.
It did. It did. My knee. Ow.
So there's this narrative in the National Football League that we're going to be patient with our rookie quarterback. We're going to groom him. We're going to draft him. We're going to let him sit. We're going to let him learn. And that sounds great. The Browns tried preaching that. They got Tyrod Taylor. Now, they got Tyrod Taylor before they really knew what they were going to do with that number one overall pick. I was screaming, many people thought, you got Tyrod Taylor, get Saquon Barkley and kind of go from there during that time. I remember that being one of the, favorites, because no one was sold on Baker, and I wasn't really sold on, Sam Darnold as far as that's concerned. But there's this narrative in the National Football League that you draft your quarterback and you get a veteran quarterback and you sit that rookie quarterback behind the veteran. And then what happens is this. The team that drafts the rookie quarterback, the team that has the really good rookie quarterback always benches them to start the season. They start their veteran quarterback, but then all of a sudden they start losing games as if they anticipated to win games. There's a reason that they drafted as high as they did. The reason the Dolphins had a chance to get Tua Tagovailoa is because they were bad. The reason that the Browns got Baker Mayfield is because they were bad. The reason that the Bengals got, obviously, Joe Burrow is because they were bad. But if the Bengals tried to pull this crap where they would have kept Andy Dalton and they were going to start Andy Dalton over Joe Burrow, the city would have rioted. The city would have gone nuts. The city would have been furious. Okay, and rightfully so, because the buzz and excitement when you draft a rookie quarterback, it's supposed to be that they are there to take you to that next level, and that's what happens. So that's what happened to the Browns. Tyrod Taylor and the offense looked horrible in the early going, which is why Baker Mayfield had to come in to save the day in week 2 or week 3 against the Jets, and ultimately goes on to set the NFL rookie passing touchdown record in 2018. Yep. So with all of that being said, when you look at the landscape of the National Football League, Tua Tagovailoa should not be sitting behind Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick serves what? As what? Every doctor has said that Tua is healthy. Every doctor has said he's healthy. Every scout, everybody has come out and said that, hey, Tua has looked great in camp. And then he gets rewarded for it by being benched early on. No. The Dolphins messed this one up. They messed it up big time. He should be starting. The Chargers did the same exact thing. They drafted Justin Herbert, and they are not, ironically enough, they're playing Tyrod Taylor. The Chargers are going to learn the same way the Browns learned. Hey, we could try to do this thing where we're going to be a great organization. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start our veteran quarterback quarterback and we're going to let our rookie quarterback learn. It doesn't work that way. The Browns tried it with Tyrod Taylor. It didn't work. Now the Chargers are doing it with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert will be the starter by week 3. Tua will be the starter by week 3. It's a waste of everyone's time. This Fitzpatrick thing, I like Fitzpatrick, by the way, but give me a break. Tua should be the starter. It's a waste of everyone's time. So there you go. By the way, Chris Harold says the Bengals started Kitna an entire season over Palmer, and that worked out real well. Chris, excuse me if I'm not willing to follow the Bengals model for anything. I know the people don't follow the Browns model, but I'm definitely not going to follow the Bengals model as far as that's concerned. Ron goes on to say, until further notice, they still are the Cleveland Browns. And Matthew Gaines, Kev says, if Mayfield can't get it done this year, do they go after Aaron Rodgers? That's kind of what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you talked about. That's what your big plan is, just in case.
It wasn't a plan.
Backup plan.
You don't plan to go get Aaron Rodgers, but here's the deal.
What is plan?
The Browns would be in a position to where they could at least make an enticing offer to Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, look at all the weapons we have. Oh, that would never happen. No one thought Tom Brady would go to the Buccaneers, and that's a bad organization too. But he didn't go to a good organization. He went to a good situation.
Right.
The Browns don't need to be a good organization to land a top quarterback in free agency if it comes down to it. It's going to come down to the situation, not the organization, because Aaron Rodgers isn't looking to get married. He's looking for a couple one-night stands, and then he's going to be out. Tom Brady's not looking to marry the Buccaneers. He's looking to get lucky a few times, and then he's going to bounce. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to.
Trying to pull a Peyton Manning, trying to get him another championship and ride off into the sunset.
Yep. Now, hopefully, Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to the Browns and pull an OBJ and get crapped on. That's We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next. What? That was good.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon is going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 90. Tonight's going to be clear with a low around 65. And tomorrow's going to be mostly clear and sunny with a high near 91. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich. The Queen of Spice is delivering that spicy chicken you love with lettuce and mayo between 2 deliciously soft buns. And yes, in classic 4 for $4 fashion, you can get all that spicy goodness with spicy or crispy nuggets, fries, and a drink to cool off, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did Wendy's just deliver the hottest deal in fast food? We got you.
Offer includes 4-piece nuggets, junior fry, and value drink. Price and participation may vary.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him?
I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support, from hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, or the ones who get it done.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Ask for it at your local automotive retailer.
Just like your favorite hometown baseball team, your Enterprise Roofing team is all about protecting home. We've been locally owned and operated since 1926. So, for high-quality roofing repair and replacement services you can count on down the stretch, call 937-240-2206 or visit roofup.com today. Enterprise Roofing is a proud supporter of the Cincinnati Reds.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys.
We're at Windy Knoll Golf Club today in Springfield, Ohio. This totally unique course is Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course, and it's open to the public. I'm standing on the tee at the 12th hole. This is a par 5 and the number 4 handicap hole, and I can see why. There's trees, gullies, creeks, and traps everywhere. I forced myself to swing easy off the tee, and I'm rewarded with a decent lie in the fairway. I hit my 4-iron and hook into the woods on the left. After punching out, I lay 3. There's a small trap on the left in front of the green, and I find it. I get lucky out of the trap, and I land about 20 feet from the hole and 2-putt in for a double bogey. Tough hole. You and your pals are in for a great test of your game when you play this link-style course. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Windy Knoll and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like, that might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets, $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McHoyle Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
PB Auctions is back in Zanesville at the fairgrounds with the big building material and home improvement auction, and it's all online. Don't miss your chance to buy kitchens, flooring, doors, trim, siding, plumbing, and tools. Over 1,000 lots, all to be sold online in the auction at pbauctions.com. Bidding is now open and the auction ends Thursday at 12 p.m. Go to pbauctions.com for registration and preview times, and we'll see you online at the auction this Thursday in Zanesville, Ohio.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums, and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are, anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
You may meet in an office or on a video chat. Your commute might now be measured in feet, not miles. How you do business may have changed, but Staples will always have everything you need to get it done. And this week, get 40% back in Staples rewards on all paper and 40% back in rewards when you spend $75 on ink or $175 on toner. Shop in-store or pick up curbside and save big this week at Staples. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply. For details, visit staples.com/40 in rewards. Curbside available in most stores.
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
Man, you could tell that the NFL season kicks off this week because we just did 3 straight hours of nothing but NFL talk. We sprinkled in a tad of, some college football here and there, but it ultimately came back. I'm excited. This is going to be a fun season one way or another. I just had to admit my little bit of likeness for the Bengals. I don't like that. I like Joe Burrow. It's going to be tough to root against him, but there will definitely be 2 weekends a year where I really root against him and won't even feel bad about it, not even a little bit. So there is that. But the Browns and Bengals play early. They play here in a few weeks. Like that matchup, we get to
week 2, right?
Yeah, I think it's week 2 or week 3. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think it's like the 17th or 8th. Yeah. So, I mean, it's early. It's right off the bat. Boom. I mean, and that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I like about that is because, like, last year, the Browns and Bengals played twice, but they played in the back half of the season. Mm-hmm. By that point, everyone's either out of the playoff picture, everyone's, banged up, injured. The Bengals are in full tank mode by that point. So, yeah. Reggie just says, the Browns savior is coming. Justin Kinner, if you're still doing the Sunday tailgate, I'm coming. Go Browns. We'll have an update as far as what we're doing for NFL stuff coming up here in the coming days, so just keep that in mind. But Reggie, go Browns. I miss hearing the go Browns from our guy Reggie as far as that's concerned. Real quick, as we close out the show, Kev, let's finish looking at the AFC final standings. ESPN's generated standings. So the Bills win the East, as we talked about. The South, the Texans, they just gave all that money to Deshaun Watson. Well, it's going to be the payoff is going to be worth it. The Texans win the division at 9-7. The Colts with Phillip Rivers and Mac, and Mac at the running game. With the running game, dude, 8-8. They're in the playoffs. 8-8. The Jaguars finished 3-13, and they clinched the number 1 overall draft pick. Man, they even go as far as to do that. Hey, by the way, Schrody, one of the bigger surprises, the Titans, the ESPN simulator has the Titans going 8-8 and not making the playoffs. Wow. Not making the playoffs. That's how big a deal the Colts getting Phillip Rivers is, apparently, because that gives them the nod.
Don't believe it.
I believe the Colts. Phillip Rivers and the Colts will be good. That offensive line, I'm not sold on the Titans quarterback. I'm just not. I don't care. I'll argue with Shorty forever. I'm not sold on the Titans quarterback. Phillip Rivers has another year or two of high quality football left. Playing indoors, I think that's going to go a long way. But I'm not going to make excuses. He's been playing in San Diego and West Coast. It's not like he's been in the bad weather. And we closed it out with this. The West, the AFC West, the Chiefs will go 11-5 according to the ESPN simulator. They will win the division. No surprise there. The Titans will miss the playoffs out of the AFC South, but the Chargers, led behind Tyrod Taylor,
T-Mobile,
or Justin Herbert, will make the playoffs at 8-8. The Broncos will go 8-8, and the Raiders will go 5-11. Man, we got to dissect that a little bit more tomorrow. I don't see how the Chargers make the playoffs at 8-8, and the Titans don't. But again, it's all about the division champs, the wild card, all that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This was fun. We're glad to be back. Again, I hope everyone enjoyed the Labor Day yesterday, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow from 3 to 6. Listen, stream, watch, follow the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and tune into the show every day live from 3 to 6. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll send you out with a little Reggie on Facebook says, Go Browns. Go Browns. Take care, everybody.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with